to change everyone's destiny with his own power.
Ling Yun.
It wasn't me. I didn't.
Stop spreading rumor.
He had explained it countless times. He was just a slacker who had never even entered the so-called Starfall Palace, let alone reversed some grand formation. He had no idea which kind soul had used his name. Ling Yun was on the verge of tears. If I ever find out who it was, I'll have to thank their ancestors for 18 generations. However, no one believed him. They much preferred to believe he was a vengeful youth, enduring humiliation for the sake of his mission. Coincidentally, he really was one. Finally, the group returned to the Thunder Sun sect. The entire sect had heard about their bountiful harvest, and the atmosphere was one of joyous celebration. No one knew how many new Foundation establishment experts or Golden Core Spirit Lords would be born from this venture. Bai Yu, however, remained silent, leading old Mo back to his peak. Sit-forget peak. A round-faced young woman, her hands nimble and skilled, saw Bai Yu return and greeted him as if he were family. Senior brother Bai, you're finally back. In Bai Yu's absence, Elder Bai Yutong had tricked a hapless disciple named Sun Lin into coming here. She had already packed her things, looking like a student on the last day of class before vacation. Bai Yu chuckled. Junior sister Sun Lin, thank you for your hard work. Come in for a cup of tea. Sun Lin slung her bundle over her back and shot off like a wild dog that had broken its leash, leaving a trail of dust. No thanks, no thanks.
Ikan de Nazer des Indies Godforsac en place. Goodbye, Seigneur Broder.
No, it's best if we never see each other again. Bai Yu smiled faintly. This junior sister Sun Lin was an interesting person. A golden nest or a silver nest is no better than one's own kennel, huh? It's still best to be home, right, old Mo? Woof. Woof. I think the wolf pack is pretty good too. Good grief, old Mo had really gotten addicted to being a wolf king. Bai Yu returned to his house and without another word, fell into a deep sleep. He didn't wake up until the next morning, feeling refreshed and full of energy. If things went as expected, he would have a lot of work coming his way in the next few days. Over 2,000 disciples had perished, and many of them had been possessed or killed by their own comrades, their bodies brought back. Sure enough, before long, the sound of funerary bells echoed from the foot of the mountain. Bai Yu, with his swanner in hand, hurried down and began the funeral rites.
The piercing sound of the suona cut through the mountainous tranquility.
One funeral dirge after another sent off Sheu, cultivator after cultivator, each one's filled with dreams. Perhaps they had fantasized about using their skills to trade for a Foundation establishment pill, form their golden core, and become titans of the immortal path. Alas, they had perished, their Tao scattered, and were now buried in the Green Mountains. Amidst the sound of the suona and the fluttering of white banners, a new row of graves appeared on Sit-forget Peak, while in the distance, the rest of the sect celebrated with song and dance. Many were joyfully calculating their chances of getting a Foundation establishment pill. This prosperous scene was indeed paved with countless bones.
Dust to dust, earth to earth.
From the Yellow Springs, there is no return. Successfully buried Chan Hai, a 9th-level Qi refinement cultivator. Obtained basic rewards, Wind Spirit Root +6, Life Experience +360,000.
Optional reward, Soaring Fiterar, Galswort, Wind Bladar, Wind Chasing Lightning Chasing Step, Piaoyu Body Technique.
Burial participation, 58%. May select one additional reward. Bai Yu casually glanced through the man's past. He was a rogue cultivator with a Wind Spirit Root. Unfortunately, he had started too late, only obtaining a source of cultivation at the age of 40. In his 60s, he had earned a disciple spot at the Flying Immortal Valley with his skills. However, due to his age, no one was willing to take him as a disciple, so he naturally had no Foundation establishment pill. With his strength, he should have had no problem protecting himself in the Heaven's Gate mystic realm, but he had the misfortune of running into a black-robed demonic cultivator. After consuming a Beast King pill, he was easily slain. Bai Yu sighed with emotion. Without a background, even someone with a Wind Spirit Root could only be buried in obscurity. While sighing, he claimed his rewards, Wind Spirit Root +6 and 360,000 life experience. For the optional reward, he chose the Piaoyu Body Technique.
Piaoyu Body Technique, Profund Rank, High Grade.
As graceful as a falling rain, not a single leaf will touch you. Compatibility with Lingyuan Martial Arts, 78%. Compatibility with Dragon Soaring Divine Step, 53%. Bai Yu directly spent his life experience to fuse the three techniques. Fusion successful. You can obtain either Lingyuan Wind Stepping or Cloud Dragon Flying Rain Art. Please choose. Bai Yu's interest was piqued. He didn't expect to have two choices. Both techniques were Earth rank, low grade. However, Lingyuan Wind Stepping was a martial arts technique, powered by vigorous Qi and physical strength. Cloud Dragon Flying Rain Art was an immortal cultivation technique, requiring spiritual energy. Generally speaking, immortal techniques cost 10 times more experience than martial ones, but they were also significantly more powerful. After a moment of thought, Bai Yu chose Lingyuan Wind Stepping. Martial arts consumed less and progressed faster, allowing for a quick boost in strength. Obtained Earth Rank, Low-Grade Martial Art, Lingyuan Windstepping, Grand Completion. Bai Yu was satisfied and moved on to the next funerary reward. With so much business, he wondered how much his strength could improve. Successfully buried Zhang Buyo, an 8th level Qi refinement cultivator. Obtained basic rewards, Water Spirit Root +3, Life Experience +210,000. Optional rewards, Cloud Rain Heart Art, Water Condensation Art, Ice Heart Pill, Alchemy Experience +50,000. Burial Participation, 71%. May select one additional reward.
Bai Yu size up.
This time, the deceased was a novice alchemist. Bai Yu had obtained a large quantity of beast cores and spirit herbs and would definitely need to refine his own foundation establishment pills. He obviously chose the alchemy experience. Rewards obtained, Water Spirit Root +3, Life Experience +210,000, Alchemy Experience +50,000.
Next was the third person's reward.
Successfully buried Wu Bai, a 10th level Qi refinement cultivator. Obtained basic rewards, Mana +66, Life Experience +480,000. Optional rewards, Gung Metal Qi Nurturing Art, Golden Blade Art, Metal Spirit Root +3, 5 Gold Armor, Minor Thunder Art. Burial Participation, 63%.
Family Satisfaction, 78%.
May select two additional rewards. After a brief thought, Bai Yu chose the Metal Spirit Root and the Minor Thunder Art. His main immortal techniques were fire-based, making him easy to counter. He needed to cultivate a few more trump cards. One could never have too many hidden techniques. While others kept one ace up their sleeve, Bai Yu wished he could become a 1,000-armed Guanyin. For the next half a month, Bai Yu was so busy he didn't even have time to touch the ground, burying one fellow disciple after another. His funerary reward skyrocketed, and his spirit root aptitude and immortal martial strength underwent a world-shaking transformation. Most of his immortal and martial techniques were upgraded to Earth Rank, and he acquired several practical spells, such as the Earth Rank low-grade Purple Cloud Thunder Whip and the Earth Rank mid-grade Earth Shield Art. He also mastered the refining methods for several immortal pills like the Qi Nurturing Pill and the Giant Spirit Pill. Through his arduous efforts and a little help from his life experience, he mastered ultimate alchemy. His immortal Dao status panel now looked like this. Name, Bai Yu. Immortal Cultivation, 8th level Qi Refinement, 72%.
Spiritual Énergie, 1534. Spirit Root Aptitude, Métal 23, Wood 52, Water 61, Fire 148, Earth 92, Wind 6, Thunder 8, Ice 12. Technique, Avant Listenar, Minor Accomplishment.
Divine Abilities and Spells, 9 Transformations of the Spirit Fox, Grand Completion. Sword Control Art, Mastered. Purple Cloud Thunder Whip, Minor Accomplishment. Earth Shield Art, Minor Accomplishment. Skills, Ultimate Mortuary Arts, 58, Ultimate Alchemy, 7, Wind Nurturing Art, Mastered. He had been completely reborn, his power explosive. Half a month later, just as Bai Yu was preparing his next move, 2 people came looking for him. 2 Foundation Establishment Elders landed on Sit-Forget Peak. Bai Yu hurriedly went out to greet them.
Disciple Bai Yu greet the 2 elders.
May I know what you require? One of the elders with a square face said, I am Kong Yong, an outer sect elder. This is Elder Ding Yi.
Greeting, Elder Kong, Elder Ding, Bai Yu said.
Kong Yong nodded.
Bai Yu, ici?
Your sect rewards have arrived. Based on the beast cores and spirit herbs you submitted, you are awarded 1 Foundation Establishment Pill. The remaining materials have been converted into 3,000 contribution points. Additionally, the sect grants all disciples who participated in the Mystic Realm entry to the 2nd floor of the Myriad Arts Pavilion to select a technique. He handed over an exquisite pillbox and a technique selection token. This was one good thing about the Thunder Sun sect. They made you risk your life, but the rewards were generous. Some sects talked about ideals and camaraderie all day but were stingy with resources. Bai Yu was delighted. The rewards were indeed excellent. However, a sliver of doubt crept into his mind. If it was just to give him rewards, they could have just had him go pick them up. Why send 2 Foundation Establishment Elders to deliver them personally? Something wasn't right. He kept his expression neutral as he accepted the pillbox. Thank you for the sect's reward. I'm indebted to you, elders. Please come in for a. Kong Yong didn't even look at Bai Yu, instead turning to the gaunt old man beside him. Brother Ding, didn't you have something to discuss with him?
I'll let you to talk.
But remember the sect rules, no bullying the weak, and no coercion. Bai Yu's heart sank. This was not a friendly visit. Elder Ding, as thin as a stick with a goatee under his chin, smiled at Bai Yu.
Little Friend Bai, here you have a 5 element inferior spirit root, correct?
Bai Yu nodded. Elder Ding is well informed. I do indeed possess all 5 elements. In fact, he had far more than 5, with wind, thunder, and ice as well. Elder Ding stroked his goatee. Little friend Bai, with your aptitude, the hope of reaching Foundation establishment with a single pill is slim, I'm afraid. Bai Yu frowned. I don't understand what Elder Ding means by that. I have a junior in my family who has taken 2 foundation establishment pills and is just 1 step away from breaking through, Elderding said. Little friend Bai, would you be willing to sell this pill to me?
I want a short change you on the price.
So that's it, Bai Yu thought. Trouble has come knocking.
Well to truly move people's hearts.
The pill hadn't even warmed his pocket, and it had already attracted attention. He pondered for a moment. How about this?
A single price, 82 ans.
Elderding's expression changed slightly. Little friend Bai, aren't you being a bit of a lion? A foundation establishment pill is merely an earth-rank low-grade pill. 20,000 spirit stones would be the absolute maximum. Bai Yu sneered inwardly. This Elderding must think he's a fool. While the foundation establishment pill was only earth-rank low-grade, its value was comparable to a heaven-rank spirit pill. In terms of price, 30 to 50,000 was indeed the ceiling, as a chi refinement cultivator couldn't afford more even if they sold everything they owned. But the key was that it was priceless because it was unavailable on the market. Bai Yu remained polite but firm. This is my chance for foundation establishment, my only hope in the immortal path.
I must charge more.
Elderding's expression shifted again. 80,000 it is. However, I'm a bit short on funds at the moment. I'll give you 5,000 spirit stones first, and I'll slowly pay back the rest in the future. How about that?
Bai Yu almost logged out of Angers.
This Elderding was shameless. He wanted to buy a foundation establishment pill for 5,000 spirit stones, and the rest would surely never be paid. How could a chi refinement disciple dare to chase a foundation establishment expert for a debt? Bai Yu took a deep breath. I'm also very tight on funds recently. I absolutely will not sell without 80,000 spirit stones. Suddenly, Elderding's smile vanished. Little friend Bai, with only a 5 elements inferior spirit root, you've reached the 8th level of chi refinement. Your cultivation speed is a bit fast, isn't it? I heard that some disciples in the sect have been taking demonic pills recently. If such a person were to be caught, their cultivation would be crippled. This was a naked threat. If Bai Yu didn't sell the pill, he would make a move against him. However, Bai Yu was unafraid. He had never taken any demonic pills. You don't need to worry, Elderding. As a mortician, I only buy legitimate pills. Senior brother Liu Beichen and senior sister Yan Li can both vouch for me on this. Elderding snorted coldly.
Little friend, you are still young.
The road ahead is long.
Brother Kong, let's go.
After Elderding left, Bai Yu's gaze grew distant, and he clenched his fists. I need to find a chance to check the Ding family's ancestral graves. But he didn't act rashly. Animosity was just a small bump on the road to longevity. Digging up graves was just an elegant little hobby. Once his cultivation was high enough, the Ding family's ancestral graves would naturally start emitting black smoke. Old MO, make a note of it. Bai Yu didn't rush. He continued with his plan, funerals and cultivation. From time to time, he would buy alchemy materials and practice refining simple pills. Once he reached the 9th level of chi refinement, he could start refining foundation establishment pills and aim for the foundation establishment realm. 1 month later, an unexpected guest arrived at Sitforget Peak, Ho Haitao. Ho Haitao was now at the 12th level of chi refinement, but his face was ashen with despair.
Seigneur Broder, ou what is wrong?
Bai Yu asked, concerned. Ho Haitao shook his head. My aptitude is too poor. I took 1 foundation establishment pill before entering the mystic realm, and now I've taken 2 more, but I still haven't succeeded. Such things depended on both aptitude and luck. Even those with a single spirit root had been known to fail after consuming several pills. Ho Haitao's luck was clearly bad. Bai Yu could only comfort him.
Don't worry, Seigneur Broder.
With your resources, you might be able to get another 1 or 2 pills in the future. Ho Haitao shook his head, a smile uglier than worn-out shorts on his face. There's no time. There's no time. I'm like a pawn that has crossed the river, I can only move forward. But aren't you favored by a golden core spirit lord? Why is there no time? Bai Yu asked, bewildered.
Wei Tao gave a bitter smile.
When the cunning rabbit dies, the hunting dog is boiled. When the birds are gone, the good bough is stored away. Some time ago, a foundation establishment expert came to buy my foundation establishment pills. From that moment, I knew I had no way out. Bai Yu fell silent. Ho Haitao had previously acted as someone's white glove, doing dirty work by selling demonic pills for the Heaven's Gate Mystic Realm expedition. The sect had turned a blind eye. As expected, the Thunder Sun sect had reaped a huge harvest. Now that the Mystic Realm was over, the sale of demonic pills was certainly forbidden. Ho Haitao was in a dangerous position, liable to be thrown out as a scapegoat at any moment, along with the forfeiture of the wealth he had amassed from smuggling. His only way out was to advance to the Foundation Establishment realm and become an inner disciple. An inner disciple was part of the sect's core and would not be easily discarded. So, Senior Brother Ho, what do you plan to do? Bai Yu asked. Ho Haitao's gaze became resolute. I plan to attempt Foundation Establishment with Thunder Arts. Bai Yu's expression changed drastically. There were many methods for foundation establishment, such as guiding lightning into the body, using water and fire, or even using bloodlines. All were extremely dangerous, with thunder arts being the most violent. It was either success or death. Bai let out a long sigh and took out a porcelain bottle. Senior Brother Ho, this is a vial of fine-legged incense. Burning it during your breakthrough can help you focus your mind and ward off external demons. Ho Haitao was stunned. Now that he was at a dead end, the only person willing to help him was Bai Yu.
Junior Broderbe.
Thank you. I came today to ask for a favor.
Seigneur Broder, ou please speak freely.
Ho Haitao's gaze grew distant. I actually have a wife. I've been in the Thunder Sun sect for so many years and haven't gone back to see her.
Ive rongeur. If he fell this time.
Please, junior brother, take me to see her. Protect her and ensure she lives a peaceful life. He looked at Bai Yu earnestly.
Junior Broderbe, you're the only one he can trust now. Please, you must promise me.
Bai Yu nodded.
Reste assured, Seigneur Broderu.
I will take good care of sister-in-law. Ho Haitao handed him a storage bag. Junior brother, these are my savings from all these years.
It's all clean money.
Take it as a token of my gratitude. If any of my Ho family descendants have a spirit root, please look after them as well. Bai Yu did not refuse, accepting the storage bag. Senior Brother Ho, please rest assured.
He will hold onto these things for you.
When you succeed, I will return them to their rightful owner.
Weta managed a desolate smile.
I hope so. I will see you again in 3 days, Junior Brother Bai. With that, he turned and left. 3 days later, a corpse was delivered to Sit Forget Peak. It was Ho Haitao. He had been struck by lightning and burned to a crisp. Ho Haitao was dead. Bai Yu played a dirge on his suona and personally handled the funeral rites. Many people came to pay their respects, but it was to confirm that Ho Haitao was truly dead. After seeing his body with their own eyes, they all let out long sighs of relief. When Ho Haitao was alive, he was a plague everyone avoided. Now that he was dead, he was everyone's beloved friend and relative.
The setting sun in the west, the bright moon in the east.
The deceased is gone, when will they return? After burying this not-so-distant senior brother. Burial successful. Obtained basic reward, 10 years of immortal Dao cultivation, life experience plus 580,000.
Optional reward, 9 ring thunderar, scorching sonar, blood fien de monicar, sword controller, ascension art.
Burial participation, 83%. May select one additional reward. Back home, Bai Yu first claimed the basic reward, gaining 10 years of immortal cultivation.
Cultivation advanced, Nint level QI refinement, 25%.
Having reached the 9th level, he could now attempt his breakthrough to foundation establishment. As for the optional rewards, Bai Yu looked them over and chose the 9-ring thunder art. It was an earth-rank low-grade thunder art that could be fused with his purple cloud thunder whip. Bai Yu spent over 10,000 experience points to fuse the two techniques. Fusion successful. Obtained spell, Purple Cloud 9-linked whip. Purple Cloud 9-linked whip, earth rank, mid-grade.
A chain of 9 lightning streak, extremely powerful.
Bai Yu nodded faintly. Another earth rank, mid-grade spell. Even among foundation establishment cultivators, he wouldn't be completely defenseless. After claiming his rewards, Bai Yu began to review Ho Haitao's memory fragments. Ho Haitao was born into a small secular family and had stumbled upon a qi refinement method by chance. His desire for the Dao was extremely firm. He decisively left his wife and embarked on the path of immortality. He cultivated with extreme diligence, practicing for at least 8 hours a day. Unfortunately, his aptitude was poor, and his progress was slow. In the end, he resorted to crooked means, consuming demonic pills and later selling them, becoming someone's white glove. In the mystic realm, he had even steeled his heart and used demonic arts to kill several old friends to obtain 2 foundation establishment pills. Even so, he still failed. On that day, he drew heavenly lightning into his body, but his efforts fell short. He suffered a backlash from the lightning, spitting up 3 mouthfuls of blood.
Oh, cruel events. Why have you forsaken me?
I, Ho Haitao, have been diligent, never slacking for a single day. Why have I come to such an end? Is it true that those with poor aptitude cannot achieve longevity?
I am not content.
Longevity. Longevity. He screamed 3 times before his breath gave out. After watching, Bai Yu was silent for a long time. Ho Haitao had pushed himself to the absolute limit of what a cultivator with ordinary aptitude could achieve. His Dao heart was firm, he cultivated diligently, he was intelligent and had means, and in the end, he even abandoned his conscience and fell to the demonic path. Yet, he still died. Another acquaintance was gone. Bai Yu thought of Mr. Meng, Little Yu, 9th uncle, and Mistress Zhu Tong. Familiar faces flashed before his eyes, then slowly blurred. Across the world, only half remain.
No matter what, Seigneur Broder ou never ronged me.
He was always enthusiastic and helped me a lot. Under the moonlight, Yu took out his Swona and played a mournful tune to bid farewell to his old friend. Skill, Swona playing proficiency increased to transcendent. Yu was stunned. He hadn't expected his Swona proficiency to increase at a time like this. But thinking about it, he had played countless tunes over the years. It was about time for an upgrade. It seemed that peak of perfection was not the highest level of proficiency. Obtained 1 divine ability seed. Can be incubated into a first-grade minor divine ability.
Incubation progresse, 1%.
Only 1 divine ability seed can be incubated every 10 years. What an unexpected gain. He had obtained a divine ability seed. Generally, spells were divided into 4 tiers: Heaven, Earth, Profound and Yellow. Above Heaven rank spells were divine abilities, which were also divided into minor divine abilities, Earthly Fiend divine abilities, and Heavenly Gang divine abilities. Even a minor divine ability was extraordinary, something only Golden Core Spirit Lords could begin to master. Every divine ability was difficult to cultivate and could be used as a trump card. He hadn't expected that raising a skill's proficiency to the highest level could directly generate a divine ability seed. Yu couldn't help but look forward to what kind of divine ability Swona playing would become. Could other techniques and spells also be promoted? Thinking of this, Yu poured a large amount of life experience into leveling up the proficiency of his other techniques. Starfall Fist Scripture proficiency increased to peak of perfection, 1/10,000.
Martial Dao aptitude, 10.
Heavenly Wolf Spirit Devouring Art proficiency increased to peak of perfection, February 10th, 000.
Martial Dao aptitude, 8.
Sand Realm Dao Art proficiency increased to peak of perfection, 1/10,000. However, he didn't raise any technique to the final step, since he could only incubate 1 seed every 10 years anyway. In the days that followed, the divine ability seed's incubation progress would increase by 1% each day. Of course, Yu wasn't idle. He bought a pill furnace and other items and began refining foundation establishment pills. First, as was tradition, he prayed to Second Master Guan before starting work.
Second Master, bless your disciples alchemy today.
If I succeed, I'll burn a BYD electric car for you, complete with a driver's license and registration. Then, he raised his proficiency with the foundation establishment pill to grand completion and began the alchemy process. First, he needed a strong and flexible flame. Most people either rented an earth fire vent or burned expensive spirit wood to create a wood fire. But Yu didn't need to. He had Old Mo possessed the profound wolf demonic fire, making him a perfect, intelligent flamethrower. A single glance could adjust the flame's size. In the sealed room, Yu first patted Old Mo's doggy head. Old Mo opened his mouth and spewed a wisp of demonic fire, heating the pill furnace. This step was called warming the furnace, ensuring it heated evenly. Next, Yu took out several porcelain bottles, drawing out 5 colored pill chi and injecting it into the furnace, adding various auxiliary materials along the way. Unexpectedly, the first furnace still had an accident. When it was time to collect the pill, the heat was insufficient, and it failed. The great writer Lu Sun once said that failure is the mother of success. Failure wasn't scary. As long as you failed enough, success would eventually be born. As for Yu, he chose to give success's mother a C-section. Without another word, he poured his remaining life experience into the foundation establishment pill. Foundation establishment pill proficiency increased to peak of perfection. Yu regulated his breath for a moment and continued refining. Second Master Guan, your disciple is trying again. If I succeed this time, I'll burn a Japanese girl for you so you can learn a foreign language. Sure enough, the second furnace went exceptionally smoothly. A 5-colored pill was successfully formed. Haha, Taoist Master, I did it. Yu held the small, thumb-sized pill, overjoyed. This foundation establishment pill was a bit smaller than the one from the sect, but it was a successful creation nonetheless. This was a foundation establishment pill, the dream of all chi refinement cultivators. Next, Yu redoubled his efforts, refining furnace after furnace of pills. In a series of 12 furnaces, he only failed once, producing 16 foundation establishment pills. One furnace even yielded 3 pills at once. This success rate would make even the top alchemists of the 6 major sects break out in a cold sweat. Yu wanted to continue, but Old Mo was having none of it. He opened his mouth and coughed up a puff of black smoke. Woof, woof. Tired as a dog. Yu smiled, took Old Mo out for a hot pot meal to lift his spirits, and then for the next few days, the man and dog worked day and night. Ah! Good job, Old Mo. Full power on the flamethrower. Success. Success.
Another triple.
They were tireless, eventually refining over 100 foundation establishment pills. Yu was ecstatic. With 100 pills, even a piece of rotten wood could be stacked into a spirit material. Without hesitation, he took a foundation establishment pill and put it in his mouth, beginning to refine it. Instantly, a gentle yet majestic energy surged from his abdomen, flowing through all his meridians. His spiritual energy became more and more abundant. Unfortunately, this was only a quantitative change, not a qualitative one. Foundation establishment depended on both aptitude and luck. Even a single spirit root cultivator could fail 10 times in a row. And Bai Yu's luck this time was a bit poor. How poor? Let's just say he was now at the 36th level of Qi refinement. Bai Yu was speechless. His luck was too damn black. His entire body was now surging with potent medicinal power, and his meridians felt like they were about to explode. He couldn't take another pill until he resolved this. However, Bai Yu wasn't flustered. He took a deep breath and began to circulate the Starfall Fist scripture, practicing one move after another. Cultivating the scripture required opening the Hundun acupoints and consumed all sorts of energy. As he practiced, the medicinal power was absorbed and refined, opening another 3 Hundun acupoints. He now had a total of 12 Hundun acupoints, and his strength reached 120,000 Jin. Once the medicinal power was absorbed, Bai Yu gritted his teeth and swallowed another foundation establishment pill. This time, it was as if everything fell into place. The spiritual energy in his body successfully liquefied, surging through his meridians. His mind cleared, and a wisp of spiritual sense was born. Spiritual energy liquefies, spiritual sense is born. Foundation establishment successful. Bai Yu couldn't help but laugh out loud. Finally, he had gone from a mere Qi refinement cultivator to a mighty foundation establishment expert. And at that moment, a group of unruly disciples gathered at the foot of Sitforget Peak, swarming towards it with menacing intent. Outside Sitforget Peak, a crowd surged forward. The one in the lead was named Ding Tianyu, Elder Ding's son and a direct descendant of the Thunder Sun Sex Ding family. His aptitude was poor, but thanks to his family's status, he had received 2 foundation establishment pills. Elder Ding had also unscrupulously acquired another one for him. Yet, he still hadn't succeeded in his breakthrough. Now, he had set his sights on Bai Yu. Powerless, with no backing, relegated to suffering on Sitforget Peak, Bai Yu looked like an easy target. Ding Tianyu sneered inwardly. My father came to buy your pill with kind words, and a worthless brat from a rootless background dares to refuse me? Today, I'll let you know who your grandpa Tianyu is. He led a group of his cronies to the foot of Sitforget Peak and without a word, rang the funerary bell. The moment the bell rang, Bai Yu, who had been meditating for days to stabilize his foundation establishment realm, suddenly opened his eyes. He was currently practicing his various techniques. The jade pendant at his waist chimed 4 times. Bai Yu frowned.
Où est-ce rendu ringing the bell?
The funerary bell on Sitforget Peak had rules. 3 chimes meant someone was to be buried. 5 meant someone was to be cremated. But even numbers were taboo, especially 4. Once you entered Sitforget Peak, you had to follow the rules. The people at the foot of the mountain ringing the bell 4 times was a very rude gesture. Bai Yu's brow furrowed. He concealed his aura and flew down to the foot of the mountain on a shield of light. There, he saw a group of young cultivators surrounding a dandy youth. The youth was dressed lavishly, adorned with accessories, his face oily and powdered. He bore some resemblance to Elder Ding. If you had to describe him in 4 words, it would be profligate son of a rich family.
Où est-ce ringing the bell?
Bai Yu asked, displeased. The powdered-faced young man in the middle, Ding Tianyu, sneered. It was me, your old man.
BUSI's narrowed.
Oh? And who might you be?
Ringing the funerary bell.
Are you here to be buried or cremated?
My name is Ding Tianyu.
Ding Tianyu shouted. It's none of your business why I'm here. You should worry about yourself. Bai Yu, you violated the rules. Bai Yu couldn't help but chuckle. He had been peacefully conducting funerals on Sitforget Peak. What rule could he have possibly broken? Seeing Bai Yu not respond, Ding Tianyu shouted sternly, Bai Yu, you consumed a demonic pill and have fallen to the demonic path. You should be taken to the Thunderlaw Hall to suffer the Thunder Whip.
Conf now.
The vast majority of this batch of disciples couldn't resist the temptation and had consumed demonic pills. Elder Ding and his ilk were using this as leverage to seize many benefits. Every gift from fate has a price tag secretly attached. Bai Yu crossed his arms and looked coldly at Ding Tianyu. He had long suspected something was off about the Beast King pills and had never taken one. You say I took a demonic pill?
Where's your evidence?
Ding Tianyu snorted. Still stubborn when you're at death's door. He took out a compass-like magical tool and pointed it at Bai Yu. Those who have taken a demonic pill have a wicked aura in their bodies, which will definitely be detected by this evil-repelling compass. However, the compass remained perfectly still, without the slightest reaction. Ding Tianyu was stunned. He had never expected Bai Yu to have not taken a demonic pill. His expression changed rapidly, and he gritted his teeth. Bai Yu, you extorted bribes and embezzled a fellow disciple's property. Your crimes are heinous. Ho Haitao's entire fortune disappeared recently, and you were the one who took it. I'm here to seek justice for senior brother Ho. Even with Bai Yu's good temper, he couldn't help but feel a surge of anger. Before Ho Haitao died, he had no one to turn to but Bai Yu. In a way, Ho Haitao had been driven to his death by this very group of people. Now that he was dead, this guy had the gall to talk about seeking justice for him. Bai Yu kept his arms crossed. And what are you going to do about it? Thinking Bai Yu was scared, Ding Tianyu laughed loudly. Sell me the foundation establishment pill in your hand.
82 spirit stones, not a single one less. I'll pay 1 spirit stones first.
So that's what this is about, Bai Yu thought. So many people were after his pill. Elder Ding was at least willing to offer 5,000, but this Ding Tianyu would only offer 1. He said coldly, unfortunately, I've already eaten my pill. Hearing that the pill was gone, Ding Tianyu flew into a rage, as if Bai Yu had stolen something from him.
You banquin.
You're worthy of eating a foundation establishment pill? Come with me to the Thunderlaw Hall and explain your embezzlement of a fellow disciple's property. With that he charged towards Bai Yu, a spirit talisman appearing in his palm, shimmering with light, ready to strike.
Bayu's eyes narrowed.
A fierce killing intent mixed with the pressure of the foundation establishment realm shot towards Ding Tianyu. He had slain countless powerful enemies on his journey, and the killing intent he had amassed was immense. How could a dandy like Ding Tianyu withstand it? Ding Tianyu felt as if he had been plunged into an icy cavern, a tremor running through his very soul. In that instant, he felt a warmth spread through his lower body had wet his pants.
FF Fondation.
Senior.
Don't kill me.
His legs gave out, and he actually knelt on the ground. His group of cronies were so scared they stumbled backward, not one of them daring to face Bai Yu's killing intent, let alone step forward to help Ding Tianyu. Bai Yu hadn't expected Ding Tianyu to be so weak, scared witless by a mere burst of killing intent. He said coldly, sect rules, ring the funerary bell, and you're either here to be buried or cremated. Since you rang it, you're here to be cremated. Take a walk on the cremation path. He raised his hand, about to apprehend Ding Tianyu. Just then, a beam of light shot across the sky. A white-haired old man appeared out of thin air, his body erupting with a heaven-shaking pressure.
A golden core spirit lore.
Bai Yu's heart sank. This white-haired old man resembled Ding Tianyu. Could he be an elder of the Ding family? Seeing the white-haired elder, Ding Tianyu acted as if he had seen his savior.
Great grandfather, save me.
This guy is trying to harm me. The white-haired old man snorted coldly. As a foundation establishment expert, you bully the weak. You deserve to be punished. He raised his hand, and a flying sword shot out, aiming straight for Bai Yu's heart. The hair on Bai Yu's body stood on end.
A Dharma treasure.
This white-haired old man was out to kill. Without a second thought, Bai Yu threw out a pile of spirit talismans, which formed a series of light screens to protect him. However, these screens were like paper, easily pierced by the green flying sword. They couldn't even hold it back for a moment. The flying sword, whistling with spiritual energy, was about to pierce Bai Yu's heart. Bai Yu let out an explosive roar, a dragon-slaying blade appearing in his hand. He poured all his essence, qi, and spirit into it and swung it at the flying sword.
1/2 bury all living things.
Clang. A huge sound erupted.
Sparks flew everywhere, and a white shockwave rolled out.
Bai Yu was sent flying backward, but the green flying sword was also knocked back. The white-haired old man let out a sound of surprise. He hadn't expected a mere early-stage foundation establishment cultivator to block his attack.
You're recruiting this.
He raised his finger, about to command the flying sword to strike again and kill Bai Yu. With his first strike failing, the white-haired old man directed the flying sword to attack again, determined to kill Bai Yu on the spot. Bai Yu's heart hardened.
If I'm going down, I'm taking you with me.
A powerful suction force appeared in his palm, and he pulled Ding Tianyu into his grasp. That last sword strike would have been unstoppable for any ordinary foundation establishment cultivator. If it weren't for his 120,000 gene of strength, he would have been skewered. Since this old geezer wanted to kill him, how could he just sit back and wait to die? No matter what, he would take a piece out of him. Seeing Bai Yu dare to fight back, the white-haired old man became enraged.
Insolence.
He pointed a finger, and the green flying sword circled in the air before slashing at Bai Yu again. Bai Yu held Ding Tianyu in front of him as a shield and rapidly retreated into Sit-Forget Peak, instantly activating the mountain's protective formation. Hum. The white-haired old man's flying sword slammed into the protective formation, creating a sky-shaking boom. He was furious. A mere foundation establishment cultivator dared to defy a golden core's authority?
I'll make you pay the price.
Bai Yu knocked Ding Tianyu unconscious with a palm strike, his other hand making a subtle movement. Then he just stared coldly at the white-haired old man, not saying a word. All because of one foundation establishment pill, the Ding family had relentlessly pursued him, trying to kill him. Even if his opponent was a golden core spirit lord, Bai Yu was determined to bite off a chunk of his flesh. The white-haired old man attacked repeatedly, his flying sword erupting with dazzling light, continuously striking the protective formation. Sit-Forget Peak was, after all, just a place for funerals. Its protective formation couldn't be too advanced. Before long, the formation's light dimmed, and it looked on the verge of collapse. As the formation was about to break, a cruel smile appeared on the white-haired old man's face. Bai Yu also raised his dragon-slaying blade, aiming it at Ding Tianyu. Just then, an angry shout came from the heavens. Who dares to attack my Thunder Sun Sect's protective formation? A red light shot over, revealing the figure of senior sister Yen Li. Her face was filled with anger as she looked at the white-haired old man. Jean Bugue, what are you doing? The white-haired old man was stunned. Yen Li? What are you doing here?
A cold light flashed in Senior Sister Yen Li's eyes.
If I hadn't come, you would have committed treason by attacking a sect formation. The white-haired old man, Ding Bugue, pointed at Bai Yu and snorted. This fellow has abducted my Yuer and has fallen to the demonic path. Am I supposed to just watch him kill a member of my Ding family? The lives of the Ding family's descendants, no matter how many, are 100 times more precious than his. Senior sister Yen Li turned to Bai Yu.
Little Bei, what happened?
Bai Yu let out a sigh of relief. Ding Tianyu violated sect rules, randomly ringing the funerary bell, and led a group to trespass on Sitforget Peak to try and rob me of my Foundation establishment pill. Fortunately, I had already consumed the pill and broke through, so I was able to capture him instead. Then this old fellow appeared and tried to kill me with a killing blow.
The white-haired old man, Ding Bugui, roar d'Inanger. Bras, you twist black and white. You've fallen deep into the demonic path and deserve to die.
Bai Yu flipped his hand, and a shadow recording stone appeared in his palm. Every word I said is true. I recorded everything with this stone.
Do you dare to face me on the skywalking platform?
In fact, it had all happened too suddenly, and he hadn't recorded anything. But now, he had to bluff. As expected, the opposing Ding Bugue's expression changed, and he changed his tune.
Even if what you say is true, my Yuer is still a child.
He's young and foolish. Why must you, a mighty Foundation establishment cultivator, stoop to the level of a chi refinement boy? If that's not falling to the demonic path, what is?
Bei Yu's expression darkened.
So the Ding family can come to my door and beat me up, but I'm not allowed to fight back? Before Bai Yu could even get angry, senior sister Yen Li exploded. Your Ding family is so fucking shameless. In terms of seniority, you have to call me senior aunt.
Today, I'll be the one bullying the weak.
She roared, and her right arm glowed with red light, swelling to 10 times its size. Then, she threw a punch at Ding Bugue. Ding Bugue's face paled. He hastily summoned a round shield to block.
Bang!
With a loud explosion, the Dharma treasure shield was directly shattered. Senior sister Yen Li's fist slammed into Ding Bugue, sending him spitting blood, flying through the sky like a meteor, and crashing into the ground, creating a large crater. On Sitforget Peak, Bai Yu was stunned. He knew senior sister Yen Li was strong, but he never expected her to be this strong. She had obliterated a golden core spirit lord with a single punch. He quickly opened the protective formation and welcomed her in. Senior sister Yen Li landed beside Bai Yu and glanced at Ding Tianyu on the ground. What an eyesore. She kicked the unconscious toad, sending him flying hundreds of feet, where he slammed heavily into the ground. Ding Tianyu woke up, felt a sharp pain in his chest, and yelled, "Damn it!
Who are you? How dare you hit me?
I'm going to tell my great-grandfather." A cough came from behind him.
Yuer, Biquet. Don't provoke this mad woman.
Great-grandfather just got beaten too. Only then did Ding Tianyu realize that his great-grandfather was also on the ground, having just coughed up a large mouthful of blood. He suddenly gritted his teeth. Great-grandfather, quickly, go ask great-great-grandfather to come out and deal with this mad woman. Senior sister Yen Li sneered. It's a deal. Go get old Ding the Fourth. I'll beat him up too. Hearing this, Ding Bugue scrambled to his feet. Yen Li, the child is just being foolish, it's a joke.
Don't take it to heart.
Senior sister Yen Li raised a hand.
10 en contribution point à compensation for Bei Yu.
This matter is settled. Next time I see you trying to rob people, I'll kill you. How could Ding Bugue dare to say no? He quickly took out a token and transferred 10,000 contribution points to Bai Yu, then hastily left with Ding Tianyu. After they were gone, senior sister Yen Li grabbed Bai Yu and went straight to his residence. Damn it, that was unsatisfying. Bring out your good wine. Bai Yu set out the monkey wine and poured a cup for her. Senior sister, I really owe you for this. If it weren't for you, this couldn't have been resolved so well. Here, this is monkey wine I got from the mystic realm. Please, have a drink. Senior sister Yen Li snatched the whole jar and chugged it down. That's the 8th golden core I've beaten up this year.
I juste can't stand it.
The low-level disciples risk their lives in the mystic realm to get a Foundation establishment pill, and scumbags like the Ding family end up with the lion's share. Now they're even trying to steal the portions you were allotted. They're completely disregarding the sect rules. Bai Yu felt a shared sense of indignation. Don't the sect's higher-ups do anything? Senior sister Yen Li slammed the table.
Do anything?
Of course they do. Ever since Master went into seclusion, these bastards have become more and more audacious. The Great Elder is from the Ding family. Of the 3 vice-sect masters, 1 is from the Lin family, 1 is from the Feng family. Only senior brother Ma is left to hold the fort alone. Listening to senior sister Yen Li's rant, Bai Yu finally got a grasp of the situation. Most large sects, in their early days, were full of vitality and competition. But as time went on, power would naturally concentrate in the hands of a few large families. The Thunder Sun sect, for example, had 3 top-tier families, the Lin, Feng, and Ding families. These families had passed down their influence for generations and had become behemoths, like tumors, sucking up most of the sect's resources. The current sect master, Lei Wufeng, could still suppress them while he was around. However, 200 years ago, he had suddenly entered a life-or-death seclusion. There were rumors that he had been seriously injured in a fight with a demon king from the 10,000 Great Mountains and was on the verge of death. Others said he had already passed away. About 100 years ago, the Ding, Lin, and Feng families began to act more and more unscrupulously, bullying the low-level disciples. Senior sister Yan Li finished the jar of wine. "You're one of my people now." After downing a jar of wine, Yan Li said, "You're one of my people now." Bai Yu nodded. Senior sister Yan Li was his guide and had helped him several times. It could be said that he was already branded with her mark. Her enemies were his enemies. Those family clan disciples would naturally see him as an opponent. Bai Yu chuckled. "Senior sister, drink up. From now on, I'll just hold onto your thigh." To play both sides, one needed transcendent strength. A small fry acting as a fence-sitter would just be targeted by both sides. It was better to firmly hold onto senior sister Yan Li's thigh. After all, she was the sect master's disciple, her thigh was thick enough. Senior sister Yan Li threw an arm around Bai Yu's neck, the overwhelming press of her conscience deforming his face. "Good boy. I knew I wasn't wrong about you. If you had acted all coy and pretentious, I would have shown you today why the flowers are so red." Bai Yu didn't know why the flowers were so red, but he now knew what a huge conscience was.
Seigneur sister, let go. I can't breathe.
Yan Li ignored him, took a bowl of wine, and drained half of it in one go.
Little Bay, go to the Tangzeng Golen register your name in the Thunderfire register. Ons you en inner disciple, tos bastard wanted are to touch you.
Bai Yu had heard that Foundation establishment cultivators automatically became inner disciples. If an inner disciple met with an accident, even Golden Core Spirit Lords would be held accountable. That was why Ho Haitao had risked everything to break through. Only as an inner disciple could he truly ensure his own safety. Before Bai Yu could speak, Yan Li added, "Brat, have you thought about your future? Will you be an outer sect elder managing miscellaneous affairs, or will you focus on breaking through to the Golden Core realm?" Without a second thought, Bai Yu said, "I'd still like to conduct funerals on Sitforget Peak. I wonder if there's a position for an outer sect elder managing funerals." Yan Li wasn't surprised. After all, not everyone had the ambition to aim for the Golden Core. "There's no elder position on Sitforget Peak, but I can send you to the second level of the cremation path." Bai Yu's spirits lifted. The second level of the cremation path. That was where Foundation establishment experts and Golden Core Spirit Lords were laid to rest. If he could bury a Golden Core Spirit Lord, the reward would be greater than burying hundreds of ordinary disciples. Following senior sister Yan Li was indeed the right choice. Overjoyed, Bai Yu took out all his treasured monkey wine and drank with his senior sister until they were both thoroughly drunk. The next day, Bai Yu woke up with a pounding headache. As he was about to get up, he found a long leg on his chest. The fluttering corner of a skirt vaguely revealed a slender snow-white thigh. It was senior sister Yan Li, sleeping horizontally on the floor, her legs resting on him. Only then did Bai Yu remember that he had put knockout powder in the monkey wine. He had specifically left one jar without the antidote, planning to use it on his enemies. But last night, in his excitement, he had forgotten and taken out everything, knocking himself out in the process. He didn't know if Yan Li was drunk from the alcohol or the knockout powder, but she was out cold too. Looking now, her thigh wasn't thick at all. It was quite round, smooth, and very white. Just then, senior sister Yan Li woke up. She stood up calmly, adjusted her pants and said, "Not bad Bai Yu." Her tone was exactly like that of a scumbag who pulls on his pants and pretends not to know you. "I'm talking about the wine," she added, glancing at him. "Not bad, but you still drank so much." He had no idea how she had managed to down hundreds of pounds of monkey wine and 100 flower mead last night.
Yan Li shook her head. À tous en cul pisti note 9.
"I'm about 70% drunk." She didn't look at Bai Yu, saying casually, "Don't just stay on Sitforget Peak all the time. Go find Liu Beichen and have him introduce you to some fellow disciples. Once you're a familiar face, you'll have people to help you out in the future." With that, Yan Li transformed into a beam of light and shot out the door. That's right, in her drunken state, she had smashed right through Bai Yu's door. That was a shin iron gate that old Mo had specially refined. Bai Yu had to run 2 li to find his own door. After fixing the door, he went to the sect's main hall. There, under the witness of a Golden Core elder, Bai Yu formally paid his respects to the founding ancestor and had his name recorded in the Thunderfire register. He also finally saw the portrait of the founding ancestor, perfected Yuan Lei. In the portrait, an old man with hair like crackling lightning was surrounded by thunder, with a pile of bizarrely shaped demons under his feet. Beside it was a line of small characters: "He who masters the 5 thunders and suppresses demons, Ancestor Yuan Lei." Ancestor Yuan Lei's eyes shone with a golden light, as if they could see into the darkest corners of one's heart. The kind-hearted would feel at ease, while the wicked would feel fear. The golden core spirit lord by his side played a cheen and said slowly, "In ancient times, the human world was plagued by Yao and Mo. The human race was reduced to blood food and slaves. Our ancestor Yuan Lei, with his great divine abilities and immense power, forged thunder and fire in the 10,000 great mountains, suppressed 100 demons, and established the Thunder Sun sect." Bai Yu was filled with a sense of awe. To single-handedly carve out a path for the human race in a realm of demons and monsters, what kind of spirit, what kind of power was that? The Golden Core Spirit Lord continued unhurriedly. The ancestor left behind the 5 precepts of Thunder Sunday. The first, we disciples must not fall to the demonic path or associate with Yao and Mo. Disciple will remember, Bai Yu said earnestly. The second, do not bring harm to the common people. Bai Yu sincerely accepted the 5 precepts. From this day forward, he was a registered disciple in the eyes of the ancestor, a true core member of the Thunder Sun sect, no longer an outer sect cannon fodder. Even a Golden Core Spirit Lord would have to abide by the sect rules if they wanted to move against him. A moment later, Bai Yu left the main hall. He was now wearing the green Dharma robe of an inner disciple. This robe alone was a high-grade defensive Dharma implement. He chuckled and went to find Liu Beichen and Shi Jian. Liu Beichen, with his sun physique, had unsurprisingly succeeded in his foundation establishment. Shi Jian, however, had been unlucky and was still in the qi refinement realm. The 3 of them had a hot pot meal together, drinking and eating. Bai Yu and Liu Beichen were about to comfort Shi Jian, but she was surprisingly optimistic. When heaven is about to confer a great responsibility on a person, it first visits his mind and will with suffering, his sinews and bones with toil, his body with hunger, and his person with poverty.
You don't need to conforme.
I, Shi Jian, will definitely succeed in my foundation establishment. Bai Yu and Liu Beichen raised their cups in a toast to her. In the following days, Bai Yu followed Liu Beichen and mixed in with a small circle of disciples. At this moment, he was sitting on a prayer mat, listening to a senior brother on a platform speak. The senior brother was explaining some tips and tricks for earth rank spells, how to shorten casting time, how to increase a spell's power. Bai Yu listened, nodding repeatedly and sighing inwardly. The stones of other hills may serve to polish the jade of this one. Having fellow cultivators to exchange ideas with and a master to guide you could save you from many detours. After that senior brother finished, a charming senior sister took the stage. She cleared her throat and said, "Today, I will share with you new junior brothers and sisters how to cultivate a Dharma treasure embryo." Bai Yu immediately perked up, giving her his full attention.
A Dharma treasure embryo.
The charming senior sister on the stage said, "Once you reach the foundation establishment realm, Dharma implements can no longer keep up with your cultivation. Only top-grade Dharma implements are still useful. Therefore, a foundation establishment cultivator either cultivates a high-power spell or uses a Dharma treasure. Unfortunately, the former is time-consuming and laborious, while the latter is prohibitively expensive. Today, I will explain a third method, cultivating a Dharma treasure embryo." The charming senior sister spoke eloquently, and Bai Yu listened with rapt attention. So the power of a Dharma treasure was more than a level above that of a Dharma implement, but only golden core cultivators could refine them. Some genius had invented a clever method, simplifying the refining process to cultivate a Dharma treasure embryo. Although its power was not as great as a normal Dharma treasure, it was still above a top-grade Dharma implement. And in the future, if the owner of the embryo advanced to the golden core realm, they could directly transform the embryo into a Dharma treasure.
Bai Yu listened without missing a word, feeling emotional.
This was the importance of having a circle. Otherwise, he would have never known about cultivating Dharma treasure embryos. These days, he had gotten to know some of his foundation establishment peers and had a general understanding of the 3 factions within the Thunder Sun sect. Broadly speaking, there was the Master-Disciple faction, the Family Clan faction, and the Rogue Cultivator faction. The Master-Disciple faction was centered around the sect master's lineage, bound by the ties of master and disciple. The Family Clan faction was bound by family ties. The Rogue Cultivator faction was the weakest, consisting of rogue cultivators who had joined the sect halfway. For the past 200 years, the Family Clan faction had grown more and more powerful, forcing the Master-Disciple and Rogue Cultivator factions to band together for warmth. This circle he was in now was composed entirely of members from those 2 factions, without a single Family Clan disciple. Just then, the charming senior sister finished her talk and leaped down from the stage. As she landed, her chest bounced, almost bursting out. Liu Beichen greeted her with a smile. "Senior Sister Bingyan, that was a wonderful lecture. It was truly eye-opening for me." The charming senior sister, however, barely paid him any attention. Instead, she walked over to Bai Yu. "Junior brother Bai, I heard you are quite skilled in the art of talismans. I am also very interested in talismans. I wonder if you would have the time to visit my humble abode? I would like to ask for your guidance on a few questions." Liu Beichen, standing nearby, almost had his eyes pop out. This senior sister Han Bingyan had always been cold to him. It seemed the charm of his sun physique was greatly diminished in front of a female foundation establishment cultivator. Now, she was actively inviting Bai Yu to her home? Was there any justice in the world? What does old Bai have that I don't?
Could it be?
He has some unknown long-comings? Han Bingyan smiled and bent down, unintentionally leaning closer. Perhaps her clothes were thin, or perhaps Bai Yu's vision was just that good, but he could vaguely see a patch of snow white. Bai Yu quickly said, Senior Sister Han, you're too kind.
I'm juste a half-baked talisman maker.
How could I possibly be called skilled? If there's anything you want to know, just ask.
He will tell you everything you know.
I wouldn't dare to trouble you at your residence. His underlying message was a polite refusal. If you have questions, ask them here. I'm not going to your home.
A beautiful woman was trouble.
This Senior Sister Han didn't look like an easy person to deal with. He didn't want to get involved in some inexplicable trouble. Hearing Bai Yu's words, Han Bingyan was stunned. She hadn't expected this junior brother to refuse her. With her charms, many male cultivators would be desperate for something to happen between them.
She gave Bai Yu a half smile.
I didn't expect junior brother Bai to be a dedicated ascetic. What a block of wood. Bai Yu didn't say much, just gave an awkward but polite smile. Half a day later, the gathering ended. Bai Yu smiled and bid farewell to his fellow disciples. He didn't return to his own cave dwelling but went to the Myriad Arts Pavilion. After becoming an inner disciple, he could enter the second floor and choose one technique for free. Adding the merit token he had received from the mystic realm, he could choose 2 techniques. He wanted to see if there were any suitable techniques for cultivating a Dharma treasure embryo. Entering the Myriad Arts Pavilion, the sleepy Ling Yun was still sprawled on the desk, fast asleep, drool trickling from his mouth. Ling Yun was still at the 9th level of Qi refinement, so it seemed he hadn't taken a foundation establishment pill. Bai Yu didn't pay him much mind and went straight to the second floor. Without hesitation, he went to look for scriptures related to Dharma treasures. Half an hour later, he finally found a book that caught his eye, The Complete Treasury of Treasure Refining. It recorded the cultivation methods for 10 types of Dharma treasure embryos. One of them, called the Sha Spirit Banner, was particularly special. It absorbed all kinds of demonic and baleful qi and refined them into a white banner. Once successful, it could suppress demons, dissolve baleful qi, and counter ghostly things. It could even nurture a Sha spirit that could change its form according to its master's will. Bai Yu fell in love with this Sha Spirit Banner at first sight. It was love at first sight, a deep and abiding love. He was immediately hooked. He took out his merit token and directly chose the Complete Treasury of Treasure Refining. After that was done, he selected another technique, the Xuanwu Shadow Concealing Art. It was Earth rank, low grade, and could conceal one's aura and block spiritual sense probes. Its compatibility with the Turtle Snake Spirit Reversing Art was 85%. Bai Yu was overjoyed. After entering the Foundation Establishment realm, cultivators could release their spiritual sense from their bodies. Under the scan of spiritual sense, many aura concealing and stealth techniques would become ineffective. With this Xuanwu Shadow Concealing Art, he could block spiritual sense probes. He chose this technique on the spot, then invested life experience to fuse it with his existing technique. Fusion successful. Obtain Xuanwu Aura Concealing Art.
Xuanwu Aura Concealing Art, Earth rank, mid-grade.
Can conceal the user from all enemy probes, up to 1 major realm higher. This meant that now that he was at the early stage of Foundation establishment, even early-stage Golden Core experts couldn't see through his disguise. Satisfied, he took the 2 technique jade slips to the front desk to register them.
Ling Yun, Alpha Slip, Sudan Lisa Bai Yu approche. SS Senior. Please register your technique.
Now, Qi refinement disciples had to address Bai Yu as senior uncle or senior. Bai Yu nodded slightly and handed over the 2 techniques. Just then, he smelled an almost imperceptible medicinal scent. If he hadn't been so close, and if his senses weren't stronger than other cultivators of the same realm, he wouldn't have been able to distinguish it. The scent was from heart-bewitching grass, generally used to treat heart ailments. Could it be that Ling Yun has a heart injury? Behind the counter, Ling Yun quickly registered the techniques and handed them over with both hands.
Saf Travel, Senior.
Bai Yu took the techniques and turned to leave, his face calm and serene. It wasn't until he returned home that he frowned, feeling that something was not right. Could Ling Yun be the black-robed man whose arm I cut off and whose heart I pierced with a formless needle? If so, that would explain why Ling Yun was still at the 9th level of Qi refinement. His body was still recovering and he couldn't take a Foundation establishment pill. However, he quickly dismissed this idea. If Ling Yun was indeed that black-robed man, how did he recover his severed arm? He had even recovered faster than Lai Lazy, a Golden Core Spirit Lord. To regrow a severed arm in such a short time. That was a feat perhaps only a nascent soul ancestor could achieve. Bai Yu shook his head and began to study the Complete Treasury of Treasure Refining. At this time, his enemy, Ding Bugue, had also begun to act. On a perilous mountain peak stood a dilapidated thatched hut. Ding Bugue arrived at the hut and called out, "Brother Zhang, are you there?" Before long, a middle-aged man in coarse linen clothes and straw sandals came out. He invited Ding Bugue into the hut. "Brother Ding, what brings you here?" There was no furniture in the hut, only 2 worn-out prayer mats. Ding Bugue frowned inwardly and did not sit down. Recently, Yen Li's arrogance has grown. She has already beaten up several fellow disciples. We only took a few foundation establishment pills from a bunch of cannon fodder, yet she completely disregards the face of a golden core spirit lord. The middle-aged man with a weathered face said, Brother Ding, you might as well get straight to the point. Recently, Yen Li sent a missive to the Baishir Hall, recommending someone for the second level of the cremation path. The man replied, I am aware of this. The person is named by you, just a junior foundation establishment cultivator. Ding Bugue snorted coldly. It was this brat who caused me to be beaten by Yen Li and lose face. How can I let this go?
Brother Zhang, you are the head of the Bechiol.
Transfer him to the 10,000 Great Mountains to dispense medicine. As long as you move him away from the sect's core, I have my ways to make him disappear without a trace. The man said, Yen Li is the sect master's direct disciple. Her recommendation is hard to refuse without losing face. However, since it's the second level of the cremation path, we'll just transfer him to the demon pen. Ding Bugue's eyes lit up, and he slapped his thigh. Why didn't I think of that? The cremation path has 2 second levels, the ancestor's tomb and the demon pen. The demon pen is the most treacherous place in the sect. Being surrounded by demonic beasts all day, it's perfectly normal for a foundation establishment disciple to die there. He was beaming.
Brother Zhang, il est livre 10 maté to you.
The man smiled. It's a small favor. In the future, when I compete for the position of martial elder, I'll need the Ding family's support. Ding Bugue cupped his hands. Of course. I will definitely put in a good word for you with the old ancestor. He didn't want to stay in this dilapidated hut for another moment. He bid farewell and left. Outside the hut, he looked toward Sitforget Peak and sneered. Once you're in the demon pen, you won't even be able to die if you want to. This is the price for offending our Ding family. At this time, Baiyu was reading the complete treasury of treasure refining. He looked pensive. Refining a Dharma treasure embryo was not so easy. For example, the Sha spirit banner required 2 rare earth-rank spirit materials, Profound Een Wood and Zhuguang Dragon Whisker Cloth. Profound Een Wood was earth-rank mid-grade, and only grew in places of extreme Een. Zhuguang Dragon Whisker Cloth was even harder to find, made from the silk of a 6th-tier demon beast, the Dragon Whisker Spider. It could contain Een and baleful Qi and even had some spatial properties. Baiyu had only heard of these 2 materials in the notes of a predecessor. He had never even seen them in the sect's contribution exchange. It seemed that refining the Sha spirit banner would be difficult for the time being. But Baiyu was not in a hurry. He had plenty of time. With a flash of his hand, 2 items appeared. One was a fiery red pill, the size of an egg, with a faint silver film on its surface, sealing all the spiritual energy within. This was the pill he had obtained in the Heaven's Gate mystic realm. He dared not eat a pill of unknown origin. He had consulted several pill classics, but couldn't identify it. However, it was clear that this pill was of extraordinary quality, definitely a top-tier earth-rank pill, perhaps even heaven rank. After examining it for a while and finding no clues, he put it away. Then he began to examine the other item. It was a purplish gold token with ancient patterns on its surface. The patterns were naturally formed and wonderfully intricate. The front of the token was carved with a crescent moon, which seemed to be real, emitting a soft glow. The back was carved with several ancient symbols, seemingly a kind of script. Everything from the Heaven's Gate mystic realm was extraordinary. This token and pill were definitely extremely precious. Although he couldn't figure them out for now, Baiyu wasn't worried. As a long-lived person, the most important thing was a calm and patient mind. As long as he lived long enough, all problems would eventually be solved. Just then, a disturbance came from the protective formation of Sitforget Peak. Baiyu flew out to check and found 2 messenger sword tokens floating outside. Messenger sword tokens were an auxiliary Dharma implement, usually used to transmit less urgent information. And because they were easy to lose, they were usually sent in pairs as a double insurance. Baiyu took the sword tokens and probed them with his spiritual sense. His expression changed repeatedly, sometimes frowning, sometimes sneering. Strange. The Baishir Hall has issued an order for me to report to the demon pen on the 2nd level of Sitforget Peak within a month. Isn't the 2nd level where Foundation Establishment and Golden Core disciples are buried? What is this demon pen? I've never heard of it. He was supposed to be burying Foundation Establishment and Golden Core cultivators, reaping rich rewards while lying down, but it had suddenly changed to this so-called demon pen. Baiyu immediately guessed that the Ding family was behind this. Old Mo, make a note of it. Old Mo took out his little black book and scribbled. Woof, woof, woof. Noted. The Ding family's ancestral graves will be dug up to the 17th generation. Baiyu quickly calmed down and began to think of a countermeasure. The name Demon Pen did not sound like a good place. And the Ding family might be plotting against him in the dark. He needed to be fully prepared. Baiyu went to the Myriad Arts Pavilion several more times, trying to find out what the Demon Pen was. However, he scoured all kinds of sect notes and secret texts but couldn't find any useful information. Only occasionally would a predecessor mention in passing that there was a most dangerous and terrifying place in the Thundersun sect. Bai Yu's brow furrowed. Helpless, he had to go find senior sister Yen Li. When Yen Li saw the sect's transfer order, she was also shocked.
The demon pen?
Isn't it supposed to be the ancestor's tomb? Damn it. That old bastard Ding Bugue must be behind this. Senior sister, what exactly is this demon pen? Bai Yu asked, curious.
Yan Li hesitated. You'll know when you get there.
All information about the demon pen is strictly forbidden from being leaked. Hearing this, Bai Yu's heart grew even more alarmed. Even senior sister Yen Li couldn't leak it, which further proved that the demon pen was extremely dangerous. Seeing Bai Yu's expression, Yen Li said, "Don't worry, I'll take responsibility for you." She took out a jade pendant from her bosom and stuffed it into Bai Yu's hand. "This is a Li Sha Pei. It's a rare treasure with extremely strong yang energy. I'm lending it to you for self-defense. It can dispel demonic qi and suppress external evils." The jade pendant still carried Yen Li's body heat and a trace of sorrow. "This time, it's my mistake," Yen Li said. "That old bastard Ding Bugue found a loophole and got you sent to the demon pen. I can grant you one request, as long as it's within my power." "I can grant you one condition," Yen Li said. Bai Yu's interest was immediately piqued. He looked into his senior sister's eyes. "Really?"
Any condition.
"Of course," Yen Li said.
You always keep my word.
Bai Yu recalled Yen Li's charm from that day, her huge conscience. He swallowed hard and said, "Senior sister, I want to be the manager of Sit-Forget Peak. Even if I'm on other missions, I want to hold the position concurrently." Bai Yu was very clear-headed. If he had dared to make any improper requests, Yen Li would have beaten him to a pulp on the spot. It was better to seize the opportunity to make a practical request. He now had 3 subordinate funeral slots. As long as his subordinates conducted funerals within a 50-kilometer radius of him, he could still get rewards. If he held the position of Sit-Forget Peak's manager concurrently, he could continue to receive those rewards. Yen Li agreed without a second thought.
C'était simple.
"I promise. I'll go arrange it now." The sect would be glad to have a Foundation establishment expert stationed at a broken-down place like Sit-Forget Peak, even if it's just a concurrent position.
Bai Yu brettait à of relief.
No matter what, this was good news. He gave his senior sister a gourd of 100 flower mead and went straight back to his home. He fell into deep thought. In a month, he would have to enter the demon pen. Who knew what dangers awaited inside? He had to be as prepared as possible. In the following days, he began to use his contribution points to exchange for various evil-warding and demon-dispelling dharma implements and spirit items. He even specifically chose a Buddhist technique, the Vajra demon-subduing art. It was a profound rank high-grade technique mediocre in all aspects, but Buddhist techniques had one major advantage. They were effective against all kinds of demonic and ghostly things. Without a second thought, Bai Yu spent 1,000,000 life experience points to raise the Vajra demon-subduing art to the grand completion realm. After doing all this, he felt a bit more confident. 10 days later, Bai Yu became the manager of Sit-Forget Peak, nominally in charge of all its affairs. Along with the sect's appointment letter came a new disciple. Bai Yu had seen this disciple before. It was the round-faced girl Sun Lin, who had conducted funerals for him for a while. He didn't know if this girl was just simple-minded or truly unlucky. The last time, she had been tricked by an elder from the Baishir Hall into coming to Sit-Forget Peak. This time, it was her again. And this time, she might be taking over from Bai Yu permanently. Sun Lin had a long face.
Seigneur Inclebet, we meet again.
Bai Yu was drawing a talisman. He stopped his brush. "We meet again, junior niece Sunday. It's good to see you." "See, can I not be happy?" Sun Lin said. "I heard senior uncle is leaving soon. Then I'll be all alone on Sit-Forget Peak." "That's right," Bai Yu said with a smile. "When I'm gone, junior niece Sun will take over for me, conducting funerals on Sit-Forget Peak until the next person comes to replace you. But usually, no one comes to replace anyone."
Sun Lin almost started crying. It's over, it's over.
"Does that mean I'm going to grow old alone on Sit-Forget Peak?" "Who said that?" Bai Yu said seriously.
How could you be lonely?
"At night, there are people everywhere in the corners, under the bed, outside the window." Sun Lin looked around nervously. "Senior uncle, don't scare me." "Don't worry," Bai Yu said with a smile. "Sit-Forget Peak is very safe. There won't be any sudden knocks on the door at midnight, no disappearing embroidered shoes, and definitely no faces on the window panes." Sun Lin was so scared her face turned pale. She ran over to Bai Yu like a startled rabbit. Seeing her terrified look, Bai Yu couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. Even his tense mood relaxed a bit. Building one's happiness on the suffering of others was immoral, but it was really fun. Bai Yu chuckled and continued to draw his talisman. Sun Lin was captivated by his fluid movements. "Senior uncle, what kind of talisman are you drawing?"
En evil dispelling talisman.
Profound rank, mid-grade. It can dispel evil spirits and protect the user. In the past few days, Bai had drawn a pile of evil-dispelling and demon-suppressing talismans, like evil-dispelling talismans, righteous chi talismans, and Buddha's light talismans. He had prepared everything that could possibly suppress demons. Sun Lin thought for a moment and asked tentatively, "Senior uncle, can you sell me a few evil-dispelling talismans?" For people in their line of work, it was always a good idea to have a few extra on hand. Bai drew a fluid stroke, finishing a talisman. "Oh, sure.
I have evil dispelling talisman for 10 spirit stones and for 18 spirit stones.
Which kind do you want?"
Sun Lin took for a moment. I'll take the 18 spirit stone ones. Give me 5.
She paid the spirit stones and carefully put away the 5 talismans. With the protection of the talismans, she finally felt a bit safer. "So, senior uncle," she asked, "what's the difference between the 10 spirit stone ones and the 18 spirit stone ones?" "No difference," Bai said. "Some people are willing to pay 10, and some are willing to pay 18.
Ah.
Sun Lin realized she had been scammed, but she didn't dare to get angry. Who was she to argue with a foundation establishment expert? In the next few days, Bai handed over all the affairs of Sit-Forget Peak to Sun Lin. She was very capable and quickly took over the funeral business, conducting her first funeral. Subordinate Sun Lin's burial successful. Obtained rewards: Earth Spirit Root +1, Life Experience +30,000. Bai nodded to himself. A subordinate's burial only yielded half the basic rewards and almost never had optional ones. But a sparrow, no matter how small, is still meat. Accumulated over time, it would be a terrifying amount. Half a month later, after leaving a dozen evil-dispelling talismans for Sun Lin, Bai left. He took Old Mo and set foot on the cremation path. On the cremation path, a square-faced middle-aged man in black armor was waiting. Though it was broad daylight, he was carrying a lantern. He said coldly, "My name is Tai Mian. I was ordered to come and get you." Bai cupped his hands. "Thank you for your trouble, senior brother Tai." Tai Mian nodded faintly.
Follow me.
He lit the lantern and walked ahead, Bai following closely behind. As they walked, the surrounding scenery changed drastically, from a sunny day to a sky filled with dark clouds. A howling, icy wind began to blow, cold to the bone. In the distance, a huge gray light barrier appeared, with a blurry black shadow within. Tai Mian stopped and handed Bai a token. "This is your demon sealing token.
Don't lose it."
Bai took the token. It was made of some unknown metal, completely black and heavy in his hand. The front was carved with 2 ancient seal script characters, Wu Chang. The back read, "Demon Sealer, rank 13. Tai Mian said coldly, "From now on, your codename is Wu Chang. In the demon pen, there are only codenames, no real names. If someone calls your real name, do not turn around, do not respond. Immediately return to your room. This is the first rule." Bai's heart grew heavy. "Senior brother Tai Mian, are there any other rules?" "Second, do not reveal anything about the demon pen. Third, do not investigate the existence at the very top of the demon pen. Do not speak its name, do not look directly at it, do not discuss it. Those who have broken these 3 rules are all dead." After finishing, Tai Mian raised his lantern and walked towards the barrier. Bai followed closely behind and finally saw the true face of the demon pen. Finally, Bai stepped through the barrier and saw the true face of the demon pen. It was a 1,000-zhang-tall pagoda. The pagoda was entirely black and hollow inside. Flames would erupt from the center, shooting up to the top and then returning. At the top of the pagoda, bolts of lightning would strike down from time to time.
Lightning and fire converged, even enders me.
Bai narrowed his eyes and looked around. From a distance, this demon pagoda looked like a tombstone. The entire space resembled a huge grave, filled with a crazed and destructive energy. The earth chi was chaotic and violent.
Lightning and fire converged, even enders me.
This was originally a prime location, but now it had become extremely ominous. In Bai's perception, he could see twisted faces forming in the air from time to time before dissipating. Only in the area illuminated by the lantern in Tai Mian's hand were they kept at bay. Tai Mian's voice was as cold as iron.
"This is the demon pen.
That pagoda is called the Demon Forging Pagoda. In the past, ancestor Yuan Lei sealed demons in the 9 Thunder Cauldron. With his great divine abilities, he refined a volcano into this pagoda. For tens of thousands of years, countless demonic beasts have been buried here." Bai was silent. This place was extremely ominous. An ordinary cultivator would have their soul twisted and fall into chi deviation just by being here. Tai Mian didn't turn his head, just said coldly, "Stay close. If you step outside the lantern's light and something happens, I can't save you." In the dim world, a fierce wind howled, mixed with the roar of thunder and fire, as well as strange wails and whispers.
A single white lantern illuminated a 10-foot square space, guide un BUN his compagnon forward.
Finally, the two entered the pagoda. Tai Mian visibly relaxed, his tense body loosening up. He led Bai to the first floor. "You are the current Wu Chang, a 5th-rank demon sealer. You are in charge of 18 demon sealing team members and 2 Thunderfire supervisors, managing the 36 demon refining chambers of the Xuanwu tomb. Bai Yu looked at the empty rooms.
Seigneur Mian.
What about the previous Wu Cheng? Dead. And the 18 demon sealing team members? Dead.
The 2 Thunderfire supervisor.
Also dead. Bai Yu's heart tightened. So the previous Wu Cheng and all his subordinates died, a neat and tidy family. How did they die?
The demonic beast got out of control.
They all died. So I'm a one-man army now? Bai Yu asked. The 18 demon sealing team members will be gradually assigned to you in the future, Tai Mian said. He handed Bai Yu a storage bag. For the next 3 days, memorize the demon sealing iron laws inside and familiarize yourself with the sealing process. You will begin sealing demons in 3 days. Bai Yu took the storage bag. A quick scan with his spiritual sense revealed 2 sets of black uniforms and a thick, heavy book. After giving his instructions, Tai Mian left. Bai Yu entered the demon sealer's room and began to study the book. He flipped his hand, and a talisman appeared, a profound rank mid-grade 7 aperture exquisite heart talisman. This talisman had no offensive capabilities. Its only function was to make one smarter. An ordinary person using it would have their mind cleared and their reactions quickened for a short time, as if they possessed a 7 aperture exquisite heart. In fact, Bai Yu had also specifically cultivated 2 profound rank high-grade minor spells, the Spirit Light Art and the 5 Carriages Scripture. The former could increase one's intelligence to a certain extent, while the latter allowed for photographic memory. These minor spells did not enhance combat power or cultivation and were time-consuming, so most people disdained to learn them. But Bai Yu knew the importance of wisdom and knowledge and had decisively spent life experience to raise both spells to grand completion. Bai Yu opened the book, and a deluge of complex information flooded his mind. Anyone else would have suffered a minor setback, at least a headache, but Bai Yu quickly adapted and began to receive and organize the information from the demon sealing iron laws. So there was a powerful and bizarre existence in this world called a true demon. The infamous demonic cultivators of the immortal world were just humans imitating true demons. A true demon could not be killed, could not be destroyed, and could not be understood. Once, a late-stage soul transformation expert had gathered the power of an entire continent to try and destroy a true demon. It seemed the demon was truly killed, but then the soul transformation expert became a true demon himself. Therefore, there was a consensus in the cultivation world. Even the weakest true demon could only be sealed. And the demon pen only dealt with demonic beasts that had been infected and sealed, or demonic cultivators who had fallen into madness. 27,000 years ago, the villager Li from the Zhongshan kingdom fell to demonhood, killed foreigners, and disappeared without a trace. 14,000 years ago, the Buddha statue in the Snow Mountain kingdom bled and wept. A demonic beast was about to emerge. 18 arhats from the Putuo temple intervened to suppress it. 12 died, 3 were injured. 5,000 years ago, a demon descended upon the Tianjin continent. Perfected Tianjin led the masses to fight it, but the continent was not spared. Reading these cases, Bai Yu grew more and more alarmed. So such terrifying things existed in this world, capable of destroying nations, cities, and even entire continents. Little Black, Bai Yu said to old Mo, this place is not right. The cultivation world is far more dangerous than we imagined. Woof, woof. At this time, Tai Mian had reached the 2nd floor of the Demon Forging Pagoda. Lord Bao, the 1007th Wu Cheng has been brought in and is in position. Across from Tai Mian sat a huge fat man, who looked to be at least 700 or 800 pounds, with a mustache at the corners of his mouth. He was rolling 2 blood-red walnuts in his hand. The people outside have sent word. When the opportunity arises, bury this Wu Cheng as well. And if there is no opportunity? Tai Mian asked. Lord Bao glanced at Tai Mian, his voice languid. Then create one. Don't bother assigning him the 18 demon sealing team members. Let him seal a few more demonic beasts. Once the demonic will enters his soul, he will be finished. Yes, Tai Mian said somberly. For 3 days, Bai Yu stayed in his room, studying the demon sealing secret records day and night. The more he read, the more confused he became. What exactly was a true demon? How could there be an unkillable existence? Just then, a stir came from his cultivation chamber. Divine ability seed incubation successful. Obtained divine ability, Yellow Springs Coal. Yellow Springs Coal, Chu Keeman, 1st grade minor divine ability. Can pacify souls, suppress demons, and kill evil spirits.
1 call, and they return to the Yellow Springs.
Neither immortal nor demon can do anything. Bai Yu was overjoyed. The divine ability seed had finally hatched. Minor divine abilities were divided into 9 grades, with 1st grade being the lowest and 9th grade the highest. But even a 1st grade minor divine ability was a powerful spell that only Golden Core Spirit Lords could master. And Yellow Springs Call was a funeral-related divine ability, which was like a timely rain for Bai Yu. Feeling a little more at ease, Bai Yu began to familiarize himself with this new divine ability. 3 days passed in a flash. On the 4th day, Tai Mian came again, bringing a demonic beast with him. A demonic beast had been sent from the Xuanwu tomb. It had 2 horns on its head and a mouth full of sharp teeth. One of its eyes was blood red and seemed to pierce the soul. It wore an iron demon-suppressing armor on its neck, and its hands and feet were bound with soul-severing clasps. 2 demon-sealing iron chains were pierced through its shoulder blades. 9 demon-sealing team members each held a chain, escorting the beast in. Tai Mian held a lantern in front, leading the way. Bai Yu went up to greet them, cupping his hands. Senior Tai Mian, Wu Cheng has been waiting. A Tsang demon is to be sent to the Xuanwu tomb. You will personally imprison it. According to the Demon Pen's tradition, a newcomer was to be guided by the 2 Thunderfire supervisors to familiarize themselves with the process. But Lord Bao had taken orders from outside to give Bai Yu a hard time and had not assigned him any subordinates. Naturally, Bai Yu had to do it himself. If anything went wrong, if demonic qi entered his body, or if he was counterattacked by the beast, it would be his own bad luck. Bai Yu was not flustered. In these 3 days, he had memorized the millions of words of the demon-sealing secret records and was familiar with the process of imprisonment and burial. The lowest-leveled Song demon, equivalent to a Qi refinement immortal, is to be imprisoned in Xuanwu tomb, chamber Bing 12. He led the group to the outermost chamber. It was less a room and more like an upright coffin. Bai Yu opened the door to chamber Bing 12. Xuanwu tomb demon sealer Wu Cheng respectfully requests the ancestor's Thunderfire seal. He took out a Thunderfire seal and pressed it onto the beast's forehead. This seal was a rare treasure, usually enshrined in the demon forging pagoda to absorb thunder and fire energy. It was used by demon sealers to suppress demonic beasts. Next, he pressed a mechanism, and a diagram of the sun, moon, and stars appeared on the ceiling. This was called the upside-down profound mechanism diagram, and it could isolate space and reverse order. Demonic beasts were extremely cunning and unpredictable. Even the lowest-leveled Song demon might possess all sorts of strange abilities, so each chamber was equipped with a series of treasures to deal with them. After doing all this, Bai Yu took the demon-sealing iron chains and fastened them to the wall. Then, he took out 108 demon-breaking needles and inserted them into the beast's acupoints.
The beast let out a piercing scream that shook the soul.
A cultivator with a slightly weaker will would have been trembling in fear, but Bai Yu's hands didn't even shake in the slightest. He completed the process in one go. Tai Mian's eyes showed a hint of surprise. He had never seen someone adapt so quickly to the demon pen. If he hadn't personally brought Bai Yu in, he would have almost suspected that Bai Yu was an old hand who had been sealing demons for decades. This Wu Cheng's talent for sealing demons is something I've never seen in my life. At this point, the demonic beast in the chamber had completely fainted. Wisps of demonic qi began to rise from the 108 needles. This qi filled the chamber and was quickly absorbed by the stone walls. Some of it drifted towards Bai Yu, but a red light flickered on his body, repelling all the demonic qi 3 feet away. It was the Li Sha-pei from senior sister Yen Li, activating on its own. Seeing this, Tai Mian seemed to have a thought. Bai Yu quickly exited the chamber. Now, all he had to do was wait patiently.
7 days to disperse the demonic QI, 7 days for thunder and fire to extinguish the soul, and another 7 days to dissolve the demonic nature.
If all went well, after 49 days, this beast could be buried. He wondered what kind of reward burying a demonic beast would bring. Just then, Tai Mian handed him a medicine bottle.
Thunder fire pele. Take 1 every 7 days.
You must take one after a burial to expel the demonic qi from your body. Bai Yu cupped his hands in thanks. Being a menial worker in the demon pen was extremely dangerous, but it wasn't without its benefits. The salary, spirit pills, and spirit items were quite generous. For example, as a 5th-rank demon sealer, Bai Yu's monthly salary was 500 contribution points, and he also received various pill subsidies, such as the Thunderfire pellets. Not only could they increase one's mana, but regular consumption could also greatly enhance one's affinity for thunder and fire spiritual energy, and even give one a chance to awaken a Thunderfire physique. After seeing Tai Mian and his group off, Bai Yu went straight back to his room to cultivate. Tai Mian, lantern in hand, went to the 2nd floor of the demon forging pagoda. Lord Bao, that Wu Cheng has a treasure protecting him. Demonic qi has a hard time getting to him. Lord Bao had a table full of food in front of him. He was eating some unknown meat with great gusto. Since that's the case, it'll be hard to kill him with just demonic qi. But don't worry. We don't have to do anything. When he truly buries a demonic beast, the demonic will entering his body will destroy his foundation. Yes. Tai Mian cupped his hands and retreated. In his spare time, Bai Yu familiarized himself with the Xuanwu tomb. Aside from the high risk, life in the demon pen was quite peaceful. For more than 10 days, no new demonic beasts were sent to the Xuanwu tomb. Bai Yu was happy to be idle and began to draw talismans. His brush moved like a dragon, quickly drawing one spirit talisman after another. Evil dispelling talisman proficiency increased to grand completion. Obtained 1 spirit agility.
Talisman success rate, 100%.
Bai Yu smiled faintly. Another type of talisman had reached grand completion, and he had gained another spirit agility. He chanted an incantation and refined this evil-dispelling spirit agility into his talisman brush. The brush now had 15 spirit agility points, and its power had surpassed that of a typical top-grade Dharma implement. From a certain perspective, Baiyu thought, the talisman brush is also a special kind of Dharma treasure embryo. It's just that the cultivation conditions are too harsh. For Baiyu, while other Dharma treasure embryos were difficult to cultivate, this talisman brush was a perfect transitional tool. After more than 10 idle days, Tai Mian and his subordinates came again. This time, the procession was even larger. 18 demon-sealing team members, fully armed, were escorting a middle-aged scholar. Tai Mian held a lantern in his left hand and a saber in his right, his expression solemn. This is a Qi demon. It is to be placed in Xuanwu Tomb, Chamber E12. Baiyu's heart stirred.
A Qi démon.
That was equivalent to a Foundation establishment immortal cultivator. And demonic beasts were extremely malevolent, their strength often able to crush opponents of the same level. No wonder Tai Mian was so serious. Baiyu raised his guard and escorted the beast into Chamber E12. Demon-sealing locks, demon-suppressing armor, soul-severing clasps, demon-breaking needles. After this whole set of procedures, the beast was still not dead. It gave Baiyu a friendly smile. Thank you for your hard work, little brother. Baiyu didn't reply and directly exited the chamber. He asked Tai Mian, Brother Tai, is this guy really a Qi demon? Tai Mian sneered. Don't be fooled by his refined appearance. This guy was originally human, but for some reason, he fell to demonhood. He killed his wife and a pair of children to gain power, then killed his entire clan to cultivate some secret art before he was discovered by the demon refining guards. Demonic beasts are the most troublesome. If you don't discover and eliminate them early, the consequences will be unimaginable.
Baiyu understood.
He couldn't have imagined that the refined scholar could do something like sacrificing his own children for power. Some people wore a human skin, but a beast lived in their heart. After a brief moment of emotion, Baiyu continued his cultivation. Finally, 49 days passed, and the first demonic beast could be buried. 49 days passed, and finally, the first demonic beast could be buried.
Baiyu made a little tune.
In the little garden, I dig and dig and dig, using a small coffin to bury your mom. In the big garden, I dig and dig and dig, using a big coffin to bury your whole family. As he passed Chamber E12, the elegant scholar, the Qi demon, was undergoing the thunderfire refinement. First slow-cooked by earth fire, then stir-fried by heavenly lightning. It had to be said, the life force of demonic beasts was truly tenacious. An ordinary Foundation establishment cultivator would have been reduced to ashes after such a treatment, but this elegant scholar was still alive. He even let out a strange laugh as he looked at the lightning and fire wounds on his body. The VIPs in Chamber E12 had to be stir-fried for 81 days to remove their demonic qi before burial. Baiyu glanced at the elegant scholar and noticed that the wounds left by the thunder and fire were healing at an extremely fast rate. Seeing Baiyu, the scholar smiled and greeted him.
Little brother, are you well?
Baiyu didn't stop. Demon Sealing Iron Law Number 13, do not attempt to communicate with demonic beasts. Do not attempt to understand demonic beasts. Once, a spirit lord from the Great Chan Monastery had tried to enlighten and convert a Tsong demon. He tried to talk to it, to debate scriptures. In the end, the great monk went mad and became the infamous ghost bodhisattva.
Demonique beast carrié à madness and malvolence.
Talking to them too much could lead to one's own sanity being eroded, eventually falling into the abyss. A lowest-level Tsong demon had driven a golden core spirit lord mad. Baiyu knew his own limits. He had no desire to save all sentient beings, nor did he want to understand the past of some demonic beast. He just wanted to send it to see King Yama. Seeing that Baiyu was ignoring him, the white-robed scholar was neither angry nor annoyed. Instead, he started talking to himself. Before I came here, I swallowed more than one Foundation establishment expert. Do you know how long it took me to grow from a weakling who couldn't even truss a chicken to this level?
Less than 3 years. Good grief, Baiyu tooked.
Demonic beasts are truly different. Their growth speed is simply heaven-defying. Thus, Demon Sealing Iron Law Number 29, if a demonic beast is discovered, it must be eliminated as soon as possible, or it will lead to great disaster. Baiyu shook his head, no longer thinking about it. The most important thing now was to bury that Tsong demon. He finally arrived at Chamber Bing 12. Inside, the beast had been reduced to a pile of bone powder, with no signs of life. Baiyu didn't let his guard down in the slightest. He took out an ancient bronze mirror and examined it carefully. This was called a demon gazing mirror, and it could detect life force, demonic qi, and even soul fluctuations. The mirror showed no abnormalities, indicating that the Tsong demon was thoroughly dead. Baiyu then stuck a large number of evil-dispelling talismans, righteous qi talismans, and Buddha's light talismans on his body, and even circulated the Vajra demon-subduing art to form a protective light shield around himself. Only then did he carefully enter the chamber. Fortunately, everything was normal. Baiyu took out a red jar, collected the ashes from the ground, sealed it with a spirit talisman, and left. It seemed there were no problems. He carried the jar out of Chamber Bing 12. As he passed chamber E12, the white-robed scholar greeted him again. Busy, are we? Bayou turned a deaf ear. The scholar seemed to be muttering to himself. I once wiped out a small cultivation family, killed 3 Foundation establishment cultivators, and amassed a pile of spirit stones and treasures. Little brother, don't you want to know where they are? He said in a tempting voice, my treasures, my techniques and divine abilities, I can pass them all on to you.
Allons à you, let me go.
Bayou stopped and walked towards chamber E12. The white-robed scholar was overjoyed and continued to tempt him. As long as you get my techniques and treasures, you'll be comparable to a golden core in 5 years, a nascent soul in 10. Slap. Bayou pressed a switch outside the chamber, activating the upside-down confounding heaven diagram, completely isolating chamber E12. I see not, heart not bother. The white-robed scholar, still inside, did not give up.
Little brother.
I know you're out there.
Don't you want my wealth? Don't you want the secret to skyrocketing strength?
Bayou thought for a moment, then took out a fluffy toy dog from his storage bag. It was an AI conversation puppet that old Mo had refined. In theory, it had collected a lot of daily conversations and could chat with cultivators, providing companionship and interaction. But that was just in theory. The tools old Mo refined were never reliable. Plus, it had collected conversations from dogs.
The actual effect?
An AI had become an artificial idiot. To put it simply, it would stare blankly. If you asked about the earth, it would answer about the sky. Bayou stuck a spirit stone into the toy's back, then activated the diagram to allow their voices to pass through to each other.
White-robed Cholar, little brother, let's talk.
AI, okay.
What do you want to talk about?
Inside the chamber, the scholar was overjoyed. As long as someone was willing to talk, he could grasp the weakness of their soul and subtly influence them, making them lose their reason and become mad. And so, the scholar and the AI began their conversation.
Cholar, little brother, have you eaten? Aïe, I've eaten.
Just took a dump. It's still warm. Scholar. But he was extremely patient and continued. Little brother, how long have you been cultivating?
Aïe, 180 gines. Cholar, point how est your cultivation progress?
Have you hit any bottlenecks? AI, very smoothly. Mother and child are safe. Gave birth to 3, 2 with daddies. Seeing that the scholar and the artificial idiot were chatting happily, Bayou floated away with the ash jar. Next came the real test. Carrying a lantern, he left the demon forging pagoda. Outside, the Een wind still howled, a mixture of wails and curses. From time to time, a twisted human face would appear. Bayou had a string of evil-warding items hanging from his body, spirit talismans, Sarira relics, black donkey hooves, garlic, wolf funks in short, anything rumored to have even a hint of evil-warding properties, he had prepared. On high alert, he finally reached a graveyard, or rather, a swamp formed by a volcano, with one crater after another. Magma would churn inside from time to time. Demonic beasts were bizarre. Even if they were burned to ashes, they might be reborn from the embers. So they had to be buried in a place of fire and tempered by earth fire for 100 years to be rid of any future trouble. Bayou found a stone cave where the magma had receded, placed the ash jar inside, then piled up volcanic black medicinal stones to form a small grave mound. He took out his swona and played a mournful tune.
Dust to dust, earth to earth.
From the yellow springs, there is no return. Finally, the funeral path responded. Burial target, Tsang Demon.
Cultivation, camp démon level. Basic reward, Dark Spirit route +3, Life Experience +180,000.
Optional rewards, Tsang Demon Chi +6, Demonic Origin +2, Spirit Devouring Art, Strength +108. Burial Participation, 52%. Bayou's spirits lifted.
A Dark Spirit route.
Interesting. He glanced at the rewards and found something brand new, a Dark Spirit route. The cultivation world was vast and full of wonders. The types of spirit roots were innumerable. Besides the 5-element spirit roots and the wind, thunder, and ice 3-chi spirit roots, there were also more sinister ones like dark spirit roots, blood spirit roots, and poison spirit roots. He hadn't expected to get a dark spirit root from this demonic beast. Additionally, the optional rewards included a wisp of Tsang Demon Chi. To an immortal cultivator, this stuff was more toxic than poison. Even most demonic cultivators didn't dare to absorb and use it rashly. Only legendary cultivators with supreme demonic arts dared to absorb demonic chi. After finally burying this beast. Burial successful. Obtained rewards, Dark Spirit Root +3, Life Experience +180,000. Optional rewards, Tsang Demon Chi +6, Demonic Origin +2, Spirit Devouring Art, Strength +108. Burial Participation, 62%. May select one additional reward. The optional rewards included a very interesting spell, the Spirit Devouring Art. It was a naturally awakened talent of the demonic beast, earth rank, low grade, and could devour all kinds of energy for its own use. Spirit Devouring Art and Heavenly Wolf Spirit Devouring Art Compatibility, 61%.
Bayu Siged.
Demonic beasts were truly extraordinary. A mere lowest-leveled Song Demon had an Earth rank, low-grade innate spell. And above Song Demons were Qi Demons, Hao Demons, Xian Demons, and the truly indestructible unseeable True Demons. With a thought, Bayu chose the Spirit Devouring Art. But just then, Bayu suddenly felt a pair of eyes on him. In the grave right in front of him, something seemed to have come out and was staring at him, rapidly approaching. Pop. An evil-dispelling talisman on his chest spontaneously ignited. Then, a Buddhist Sarira relic cracked. Bayu's hair stood on end, and he stumbled backward. He activated his spirit-gazing eye and looked forward, but he couldn't see anything at all. He tried several other detection methods, Heaven's Eye art, spiritual sense, even the Qi-gazing technique of Feng Shui. None of them could see anything. He clearly felt something in front of him, watching him, but he couldn't see it.
What is it? T.
Bayu raised his talisman brush and slashed forward, but he only cut through empty air.
Pop, pop, pop.
The evil-dispelling talismans on his body ignited one after another. That thing was getting closer, step by step. Only now did Bayu truly understand the terror of demonic beasts. Even after 49 days of thunderfire refinement and burial, there was still this strangeness. His mind raced. He grabbed his suona and played the Yellow Springs call.
The mournful suona music spread out, carrying a strange artistic conception. One call to the Yellow Springs, a cycle of reincarnation.
Who cries on the terrace of gazing home? Neither immortal nor demon can do anything.
Weng. The sound of the suona echoed around.
Finally, the hair-raising presence receded. Bayu could feel that thing dissipating into the world. And at that moment, a strange energy rose from the heavens and descended upon Bayu, clearing his mind and tempering his soul. Feng Shui Master Cultivation plus 12. Cultivation, 3rd rank Feng Shui Master, 88%. He hadn't expected his Feng Shui Master Cultivation to finally advance again. Of the immortal martial and yin-yang paths, Feng Shui Master was the hardest to advance. Only by burying people in places with good Feng Shui could one receive feedback and temper one's soul. But where in the world were there so many good Feng Shui spots? And the ones that existed were already taken. After so many years of funerals, Bayu's Feng Shui Master Cultivation had barely budged. Now, it had increased by 12 points. Could it be that the demon pen was actually a good Feng Shui spot? Whatever the case, this was an unexpected surprise, giving Bayu a way to advance his Feng Shui cultivation. If he buried a few more demonic beasts, he might become a geomancer, or even a diviner or astrologer. He shook off his distracting thoughts, claimed his rewards, and invested his life experience to fuse the Spirit Devouring Art and the Heavenly Wolf Spirit Devouring Art. Fusion successful. Obtained Earth rank, mid-grade technique, Heavenly Wolf Spirit Devouring. Heavenly Wolf Spirit Devouring can devour all kinds of energy and transform it into martial Dao's vigorous qi, enhancing one's cultivation. He had no time to test it. Carrying the lantern, he hurried back to the demon forging pagoda. The journey back was uneventful. He returned safely to the Xuanwu tomb area. At this time in Chamber Bing 12, the white-robed scholar's eyes were bloodshot, his voice tinged with frustration. Don't you believe that human nature is inherently evil?
Everyone will betray you.
Everyone deserves to die. The AI idiot still replied unhurriedly, I believe your insistence on the theory of evil will affect the breeding efficiency of sows. This is not conducive to the digestion of sheep liver. Therefore, I suggest you eat more steamed buns with steamed bun filling. It can effectively increase the hardness and endurance of your brain. The scholar was exasperated.
Why can't he get through to you?
Just think about it, if a person. Bayu saw that the two were getting along quite well. He quietly replaced the AI's mid-grade spirit stone with a new one, then returned contentedly to his room to cultivate. The next day, the white-robed scholar was lying on the ground, foaming at the mouth. His eyes were lifeless, his hair disheveled. I've been had. He had intended to use conversation to let his demonic nature influence his opponent and drive them mad. He never expected to be driven mad by an AI idiot. Bayu nodded with satisfaction. Who said everything old Mo refined was useless? It just had to be used in the right place. Bayu nonchalantly went over and switched the AI to tough guy mode. He believed that with the companionship of the AI, the scholar would have a pleasant remainder of his life. In the following days, Bayu gradually adapted to life in the demon pen. During this time, Tai Mian brought several more Tsong demon-level beasts, all of which were imprisoned in the Bing chambers. Bayu, except for cultivating and patrolling, would take old Mo around to visit. He gradually figured out the layout of the demon pen. For example, the area he was in was called the Xuanwu 36 Tombs. There were also the Azure Dragon, White Tiger, and Vermilion Bird areas. The four symbols each had a demon sealer, a demon ferryman, and 2 day and night patrol envoys. These 6 envoys formed the Four Symbols Division, led by a demon sealing commander named Lord Bao. Besides the Four Symbols Division, Bayu had heard of the 9 Luminaries Division, the Big Dipper Division, and the 3 Primes Division. Of course, Bai Yu's range of activity was limited to the 4 symbols division. He did get to know the other 3 demon sealers. The one in the Azure Dragon area was codenamed Yazi. The White Tiger Demon Sealer was codenamed Shurji. The Vermilion Bird Demon Sealer was codenamed Shangue. Of them all, Bai Yu liked visiting the White Tiger area the most. The White Tiger Demon Sealer, Shurji, was really white. Her skin was like frost and snow, without a single visible pore. And just like that, 81 days passed in a flash. Now, the Chi Demon could finally be buried. 81 days passed, and the Chi Demon had been refined into a pile of white bones. However, Bai Yu was not in a hurry to bury it. The Demon Pen rule stated that a chambery burial required at least 81 days, but it didn't say it could only be 81 days. To be on the safe side, Bai Yu decided to extend this Chi Demon's Thunderfire massage service. He glanced at the chamber and went straight back to his room. He had previously obtained the Earth-rank technique, Heavenly Wolf Spirit Devouring. It was the perfect time to test it out. A cold light flashed in his hand, and an egg-sized pearl appeared. This was a Starfall Essence crystal he had obtained in the Heaven's Gate Mystic Realm. Although it was only Earth-rank low-grade, it was filled with star essence. He had been unable to absorb it before, but now, with the Heavenly Wolf Spirit Devouring technique, he could finally refine it. Bai Yu opened his mouth and swallowed the crystal. He then began to circulate the technique. A silver wolf's head faintly appeared on his chest. A surging, pure stream of star essence was instantly digested and absorbed, circulating through his meridians for a full cycle. An hour later, the surging star energy had transformed into Heavenly Wolf Thundervigor and all gathered in the Like acupoint on his left arm. Another Hundun acupoint had been successfully refined. Bai Yu was delighted. He took out several more Starfall Essence crystals and continued to refine them. A series of cracking sounds came from his bones, and his entire body was shrouded in a layer of silvery starlight, constantly being tempered and strengthened by the star energy. Half a day later, he had added another 6 Hundun acupoints on his left arm. Including the previous Like acupoint, he now had a total of 7 Hundun acupoints, with 70,000 gene of strength. Bai Yu now possessed a total of 200,000 gene of immense strength, and his martial Dao strength had greatly increased. Bai Yu opened his eyes, and a 3-foot-long white light shot out. As expected of a devouring secret art derived from a demonic beast, it can directly absorb star essence. My future martial Dao cultivation will be much faster. In a good mood, Bai Yu stretched his muscles and strolled over to the Bing chambers. The 4 Tsong demons there had each been assigned an AI idiot. That day Bai Yu had discovered that the AIs were quite effective. At the very least, they could distract the beasts and make them focus their energy on trying to corrupt a non-existent heart. Bai Yu had immediately rolled out a brand new chemotherapy service. No injections, no medicine, just talking to the demonic beasts to treat them. It was called talk therapy, and its main purpose was companionship, aiming to treat all the beasts until they went mad. Old Mo had worked through the night to provide all the chambers with an AI conversation puppet. And the effect was quite good. A Tsong demon was trying to corrupt its guard. This world is so unfair. Those who kill and burn get rich, while those who build bridges and pave roads die without a trace. Why do you think that is? AI, because therefore the Pythagorean theorem. Tsong demon, you're avoiding the question. Don't you have people you hate?
Ai, Ido.
Tsong demon, see? Who do you hate the most?
Ai, Diarrhea. Candémon, point y.
AI, because it's hard to get a good bite. This divine comeback from the AI left the demon speechless. From a distance, Bai Yu watched and nodded approvingly. This AI was different from other puppets. It didn't involve a soul at all. In essence, it was just a magnetic soundstone that could record some words and then repeat them. No matter how powerful the demonic beast was, it couldn't drive a soundstone mad. The AI wouldn't go mad. The one who would go mad was the beast. Bai Yu smiled faintly and set all the AIs to tough guy mode. Since he had nothing to do, he strolled over to the nearby White Tiger Tomb. The demon sealing team members of the White Tiger Tomb all greeted Bai Yu. A few days ago, Bai Yu had come to visit, giving each of them a few evil dispelling talismans and a total of 2 pounds of Saraira relics. As for the White Tiger Demon Sealer, Shurji, Bai Yu had given her a bottle of beauty-enhancing pills, another spoil from a Heaven's Gate Mystic Realm. Since Bai Yu had no use for it, he had done a favor. This gift-giving offensive immediately won him the approval of everyone in the White Tiger Tomb. He strolled into Shurji's room. Sister Ji, what are you busy with? Shurji was wearing a nightgown, revealing a section of her jade-like calf. It was truly white, 3 parts whiter than snow. She stretched lazily. Just finished dealing with a Tsong demon.
I'm dead tired.
The beasts have been restless recently. Wuchang, how's your Xuanwu tomb? Bai Yu sat down without being asked. It's fine. 2 of them went crazy. That's strange, Shurji said. Didn't you say your Xuanwu tomb hasn't been assigned any demon sealing team members yet? The demonic beasts went crazy, Bai Yu clarified. Shurji gave him a, you've got to be kidding me look. Bai Yu didn't explain further, just presented a pot of newly brewed 100 flower mead. Sister Ji, in a couple of days, I'm going to bury a Qi demon. Could I trouble you to look after the Xuanwu tomb for a bit? The Xuanwu tomb and the White Tiger tomb were close, connected by a direct path. This was why Bai Yu frequented the White Tiger tomb. A distant relative is not as good as a close neighbor. He was a one-man army now, making a few more friends would be helpful if anything happened. Shiji nodded. A few hours is fine. Any longer and we won't be able to handle it. Suddenly, she seemed to remember something. By the way, a Qi demon is not easy to bury.
You might encounter some strange things.
Remember to go to the Ancestors' Hall and request a wisp of ancestral starfire for protection. Bai Yu was stunned.
Ancestors Soul?
A wisp of ancestral starfire? Is that a thing? You didn't know? Then how did you dare to go out and bury a demon? She looked at him thoughtfully. It seems you've offended someone, kid. Bai Yu quickly said, Sister Ji, I really didn't know. Tell me about it. Shiji explained slowly, and Bai Yu finally understood. It turned out that leaving the demon forging pagoda could lead to all sorts of dangers. So before a burial, one had to go to the Ancestors' Hall and request a wisp of starfire for protection. This fire was left by ancestor Yuan Lei and had been passed down for generations, protecting disciple after disciple. Burying a demon without the protection of the ancestral starfire could easily lead to one's mind being invaded by demonic will, resulting in death. No one had told Bai Yu this important piece of information. It wasn't even in the demon sealing iron laws. If it weren't for his Yellow Springs call, he might not have come back in one piece from the last burial. Bai Yu made a mental note against his superior, Lord Bao. Whether he was behind it or not, he was at least guilty of negligence. Bai Yu was secretly glad that he had been visiting and befriending the other 3 demon sealers. Otherwise, he would have run into danger sooner or later. After listening for a while, he cupped his hands and left. A few days later, he went to the Ancestors' Hall. Inside, there was a portrait of the ancestor and an eternal heartfire. Perfected Yuan Lei was still as majestic and righteous as ever. Entering the hall gave one a sense of security. Bai Yu offered a stick of incense to ancestor Yuan Lei.
Boon le fortune, avant les under transform. Ancestores at fire, protect my prosperity.
The 1007th Wu Chang respectfully requests the ancestor's heartfire to protect me during the burial. A wisp of flame descended from the heartfire and fell into the lantern Bai Yu had prepared. Carrying the lantern, he went to collect the remains of the Qi demon and went out to bury it. Bai Yu used a Dharma altar to collect the remains of the white-robed scholar and left the demon forging pagoda. This time, with the protection of the ancestral starfire, the journey was smooth. He chose a volcanic crater, buried the altar, and made a grave mound. As expected, as soon as he finished, that unsettling feeling of being watched returned. Something seemed to emerge from the grave mound, but it was still impossible to detect. He could only feel the air turn cold, his hair standing on end. Just then, a ball of fire flew out of the lantern in front of him. The flame emitted a scorching light, forcing that thing back. Bai Yu seized the opportunity to play his Yellow Springs call.
One call to the Yellow Springs, a cycle of reincarnation.
Who cries on the terrace of gazing home? Neither immortal nor demon can do anything. As the sound of the Suona rang out, the hair-raising feeling gradually dissipated. That thing seemed to be slowly exorcised. The memory fragments of this Qi demon flooded into Bai Yu's mind, and he felt as if he were watching a movie. These memories were quite explosive. It turned out the white-robed scholar was named Su Muru, originally a scholar from the Eastern Yu Kingdom. His talent and looks were both top-notch, so he was chosen by the local academic official to be his son-in-law. The official's daughter was also beautiful, a perfect match for him. Who knew that his wife was a promiscuous woman who often went to a temple to pray and ended up having an affair with the abbot, even giving birth to the abbot's son. The truth eventually came out. One day, the monk was in bed with his wife, preaching scriptures and enlightening the masses, when Su Muru caught them. Enraged, Su Muru grabbed a weapon and tried to fight the monk, who barely escaped. Afterward, Su Muru, wanting to avoid a public scandal and fearing the official's power, chose to endure it. Who would have thought that his wife would become even more audacious, placing one green hat after another on Su Muru's head? The details were not pleasant, so Bai Yu skipped them. One day, Su Muru even discovered his wife and his son engaged in an incestuous act. Under interrogation, he learned that the boy was the monk's bastard child. Under such a blow, Su Muru went mad on the spot. He seemed to suddenly gain some kind of power. First, he killed his wife and the bastard child, skinned them, and made them into lanterns. Then, he slaughtered the official's family and the monks in the temple. With every person he killed, he became a little madder, and his power grew stronger. In the end, he had even killed all his own relatives and drained their blood. It wasn't until he had killed an entire county's worth of people that he was suppressed by the cultivators of the Spirit Turtle sect of the Eastern Yu Kingdom. The Eastern Yu Kingdom was a vassal state of the Great Li Kingdom, and its local sects were not strong. They had no choice but to send Su Muru to the Thunder Sun sect's demon pen. The Great Li Kingdom had dozens of such vassal states. As Bai Yu played his Suona, his brow furrowed deeper. Su Muru's experience was truly lamentable. It was enough to make anyone snap. But the strangest thing was that from beginning to end, Sumuru had never obtained any cultivation technique or met any demonic cultivator. It was as if he had just directly fallen to demonhood, and then he learned about blood sacrifice, started killing people, and his strength began to skyrocket. And his strength grew at an astonishing rate. In less than 3 years, he had grown into a chi demon comparable to a Foundation Establishment immortal cultivator. It was too strange, too bizarre. Finally, the dirge ended. The funeral path responded. Burial successful. Obtained rewards, blood spirit root +8, life experience +550,000.
Optional reward, Ocean of Suffering de Monicar, 9 clan extermination secrétard, avant l'IA avatar grand art, chi démon QI +12, démonique origine +8. Burial participation, 71%.
May select one additional reward. By use spirits lifted. It was finally harvest time. This demonic beast was different. Just the life experience alone was much more than that of a typical Foundation Establishment cultivator, and it even gave him a blood spirit root reward. In the future, cultivating blood chi techniques would be faster. The main event was the optional rewards. This chi demon's techniques and secret arts were all very powerful, at least heaven rank. The 9-clan extermination secret art was even a first-grade minor divine ability. This art first required one to exterminate all of their own kin, then gather the clan's luck onto oneself, after which one's strength would advance by leaps and bounds. Baiyu was impressed. No wonder Sumuru's strength had grown so quickly. However, Baiyu did not choose the 9-clan extermination secret art. Although it was a powerful minor divine ability, he had no use for it and no intention of using it.
In the end, Baiyu chose the avant l'IA avatar grand art. Avant l'IA avatar grand art, even rank, low grade.
Plant a spirit eye and cultivate an avatar from it. Baiyu was overjoyed. This was the first heaven rank technique he had learned, and it was the avatar technique he had been dreaming of. He was now in the demon pen and couldn't do many things. If he had an avatar, he could do much more. For example, if his main body and avatar conducted a funeral together, would it increase his burial participation? Or, if they conducted funerals separately, could they get 2 sets of rewards at the same time? Just then, another mysterious power descended upon Baiyu. His soul was once again tempered and strengthened, growing much stronger. Feng Shui Master Cultivation +10. Cultivation, 3rd rank Geomancer, 98%. His Feng Shui Master Cultivation had also increased. He was just a little short of reaching the diviner realm. It was a bit strange that burying a chi demon gave him less of a Feng Shui boost than last time. But Baiyu didn't mind. There were plenty of demon heads, he would reach the next realm sooner or later. He carried the lantern back to the Xuanwu tomb. Only then did he begin to carefully examine Sumuru's memory fragments, looking for the treasure location he had mentioned. Although the deceased's memories were fragmented, Baiyu was lucky this time and found Sumuru's treasure hiding place. It was in a temple on the border between the Eastern Yu Kingdom and the Great Li Kingdom. What made Baiyu most happy was that it really did contain something he desperately needed, profound Een wood. This was one of the main materials for refining the Sha spirit banner embryo. Baiyu pondered.
It's a pity I'm stuck in the demon pen now and can't leave.
If I could refine an avatar, I could go get the treasure. Thinking of this, his desire to refine an avatar grew even more urgent. However, the Heavenly Eye Avatar Grand Art was a heaven-rank secret art. Not only was it difficult to cultivate, but the key was to find a spirit tree seed. He had to plant the seed, cultivate it, and only then could he form an avatar. The higher the grade of the seed, the higher the success rate of the avatar and the stronger it would be. The spirit seed used for an avatar had to be at least earth rank, and a heaven rank seed would be best. Unfortunately, Baiyu only had a profound rank, low-grade silverfrost reed seed. How could he get a spirit seed? Baiyu thought it over and decided to try his luck with Shurji. Baiyu took old Mo and went to visit. Strangely enough, Shurji was particularly fond of old Mo. As soon as she saw him, she picked him up and held him in her arms. Baiyu watched old Mo's blissful expression and couldn't help but sigh. A man is not as good as a dog. He asked, Sister Ji, do you know any way to get a spirit seed? Preferably heaven rank. To cultivate the Heavenly Eye Avatar Grand Art, an earth rank spirit seed would work, but the cultivation would have a ceiling, stopping at the chi refinement realm. If it was a heaven rank seed, it would be like a normal person and could cultivate normally. Shurji, while stroking old Mo, said, a heaven rank spirit seed? That's something even golden core cultivators would find useful. How could a normal Foundation Establishment cultivator have one? But you can try your luck at the barter hall. Baiyu's interest was piqued.
The barter hall.
Shurji patiently explained its origin. It turned out that people in the demon pen were not allowed to leave easily.
They could only request leave once every 10 years.
But the cultivators here still needed to cultivate and required various resources. Thus, the barter hall was born. The sect would periodically transport some supplies in, and the demon sealing cultivators could go there to trade, item for item. But each cultivator could only go once a month.
Baiyu understood.
So that's how it was. The barter hall wasn't mentioned in the demon sealing secret records at all. It was like a lot of knowledge that wasn't taught in books or schools, only learned from various predecessors. After chatting with Shurji for a bit, Bayu cupped his hands and left. He went to the barter hall with great anticipation. At the entrance, he registered his demon sealing token and was allowed in. In the center of the hall was a stone stele with the names of various goods on it. By probing with one's spiritual sense, one could get detailed information about each item. Many cultivators were standing under the stele, looking for what they needed. Bayu also walked over and began to check the goods. The goods were dazzlingly diverse, but there were no spirit seeds. Not just heaven rank or earth rank, there weren't even any profound rank ones. In a place like the demon pen, survival was difficult enough for cultivators, let alone for spirit grasses and herbs. So no one would bring spirit seeds in to sell. However, Bayu did see a piece of information that interested him. Spring sun water, 1 portion, profound rank, high grade. Can stimulate the life force of spirit herbs and trees, promoting growth. To be exchanged for a 3rd tier, wood attribute beast hide.
Bayu sizely up.
This stuff would be a great help for cultivating his heavenly eye avatar. He left a message next to the information with his spiritual sense, then found a stone room in a corner of the hall and sat down.
Before long, à Baldman ou d'Over.
His large bald head was very conspicuous in the crowd.
Ami tabac.
Apologies for the wait, benefactor.
IAM the patrol envoie of the 9 Luminary Division, Shasheng.
Bayu was intrigued. He hadn't expected there to be a monk in the demon pen. The Thunder Sun sect was a Taoist sect, even their uniforms were Taoist robes. Yet, a bald monk had managed to mix in.
Bayu stood up.
So it is Taoist friend Sha Sheng. I wonder if you have brought the item. The monk, Sha Sheng, smiled. Of course. This is profound rank, high-grade rejuvenation water. Please have a look, benefactor. With a wave of his large sleeve, a porcelain bowl appeared on the table in front of him, filled with a verdant liquid. Bayu briefly examined it. It was indeed full of life force. He swiped his storage bag, and a yellow beast hide appeared in front of him. Sha Sheng took the beast hide, his face showing his delight. A 3rd-tier beast, the 9-clawed rhino. It is indeed a 3rd-tier, wood attribute beast hide. Benefactor, this deal is done.
Appelez Azur doing business with you.
He took the hide, gave the rejuvenation water to Bayu, and was about to leave. Master, please wait, Bayu said. Sha Sheng turned to look at Bayu. What is it, benefactor? Master is an alchemist, I presume? I wonder if you have any wood attribute pills for sale. Sha Sheng was stunned for a moment, then realized. Benefactor deduced that from the spring sun water, I see. Yes, I am indeed an alchemist. I have a few bottles of spirit-nourishing pills on hand. Bayu was pleased. I have another 9-clawed rhino hide here. I wonder if master is interested in a trade. Sha Sheng was overjoyed. Of course, of course. If benefactor can produce another hide like the last one, I can give you 5 bottles of spirit-nourishing pills. Bayu nonchalantly waved his hand, and another beast hide appeared on the table. He had obtained many beast materials in the Heaven's Gate mystic realm. To avoid attracting attention, he hadn't sold them. Using 1 or 2 hides now was just right.
À moment laté, Bayu left the barter-hall.
He now had 8 more bottles of spirit-nourishing pills in his storage bag. Back in his room, he rested his chin on his hand and fell into thought. In this demon pen, getting a heaven-rank spirit seed seemed unrealistic. Even an earth-rank one was unlikely. But the Heavenly Eye Avatar Grand Art was very useful to him. The sooner he cultivated it, the better. Thinking of this, he flipped his hand, and a pale yellow lotus seed appeared in his palm. This was the one he had obtained from the formation in the mystic realm. The problem was, he didn't know its grade or if it could be nurtured into a spirit object. After much thought, Bayu decided to give it a try. Even if it failed, he wouldn't lose anything. With this in mind, he began to sit cross-legged and cultivate the Heavenly Eye Avatar Grand Art. The lotus seed floated in his palm. As Bayu breathed in and out, a faint, almost imperceptible wisp of chi entered the seed. To cultivate the avatar, one first had to cultivate the Heavenly Eye art. During cultivation, one used Heavenly Eye spiritual power and Heavenly Eye true essence to refine the spirit seed, stimulate its life force, and connect its chi with the masters. True essence was liquefied spiritual energy. This meant that to refine the avatar, one had to start from scratch and cultivate a wood attribute technique all the way to foundation establishment. This was time-consuming and laborious. Most cultivators would not be willing to spend so much time on such a method. Time was life, and a cultivator's life was not infinite. But for Bayu, what was that? Time? He had plenty of it. He cultivated for several days. With the help of the spirit-nourishing pills, his wood attribute spiritual energy reached the second level of chi refinement. The lotus seed also took on a faint green hue. It seemed it really could sprout. Bayu stretched, overjoyed, and began to look forward to this avatar. He glanced at old Mo and saw that he had been working tirelessly for several days. The success of the AI puppets had greatly encouraged him. He had decided to further upgrade them, creating different versions of the talk therapy puppets: Tough Guy, Venomous Tongue, and Repeater. Old Mo always had endless passion for refining and reading. Baiyu didn't disturb him and went straight to the Bing chambers. The 3 Tsong demons in the chambers had all been refined. He could now bury 3 more demon heads. Finally, he could bury 3 more demonic beasts. Baiyu chuckled, took out 3 Dharma altars, collected the beasts' ashes, and as usual, went to the Ancestors' Hall to request a protective heartfire before leaving the demon forging pagoda. Outside the pagoda, the Een wind still howled, mixed with a strange intent that made one not want to stay for a moment longer. Baiyu went to the volcanic graveyard, chose a stone cave, and buried the first Song demon. Burial successful. Obtained rewards: Wood Spirit Root +5, Life Experience +50,000. Optional rewards: Song Demon Chi +3, Low-grade Demonic Origin. Burial participation, 58%. May select 1 additional reward. This Song demon wasn't too fierce, so the rewards weren't great. The optional rewards were even just 2 items. Baiyu frowned. Demonic Chi was something most cultivators avoided like the plague. Even most demonic cultivators didn't dare to absorb and use it rashly. So he would definitely not touch the Tsong Demon Chi. That left him with a low-grade demonic origin. A dark red bamboo shoot appeared in his palm. Low-grade demonic origin contained the essence of a demonic beast. Consuming it could strengthen one's physique. Baiyu would not rashly consume this thing. He took out a jade bottle, placed the demonic origin inside, and sealed it with several spirit talismans. Just then, that hair-raising feeling returned. Something had come out of the grave. The ancestral heartfire flared up, circling the grave mound, seeming to fight with that thing. Baiyu played a dirge on his Suona, and finally, everything returned to calm. Feng Shui Master Cultivation +3. Yin Yang Dao level increased by 1 grade.
Geomancer 1.
Comprehended 1st grade Minor Divine Ability, Alter Earth Veins. Can manipulate Earth Chi to change terrain. Chi Gazing Technique has been upgraded to Heaven Rank, Low Grade, Auspicious Dragon Chi Gazing. Baiyu was overjoyed. His Feng Shui art had finally broken through. Although the Feng Shui path was difficult to advance, the benefits of a breakthrough were not simple. He had directly comprehended a minor divine ability and a heaven rank spell. At this moment, his soul had grown immensely, a world of difference. His 5 senses became sharper, especially his perception of Earth Chi. In terms of soul strength, he had far surpassed a typical early-stage foundation establishment expert. Baiyu looked at his Feng Shui status panel.
Subprofession, Geomancer 1. Technique, Yin Fortune Scripture, Grand Completion.
Spells and divine abilities: Alter Earth Veins, Beginner, Auspicious Dragon Chi Gazing Art, Mastered. Skills: Feng Shui Art, Peak of Perfection, Grave Seeking Art, Minor Accomplishment, Corpse Refining Art, Transcendent, Blood Fortune Scripture, etc. Cultivating multiple paths at once yielded great rewards. The only problem was that it consumed too much time and energy. Even with the funeral path and the ability to use life experience to level up spells and skills, it was still a bit much. A martial Dao or Feng Shui technique required 10 million life experience to max out. An immortal Dao technique or divine ability required 100 million. Not to mention the various talismans and spirit pills, which all required a sea of life experience. It was never enough. Baiyu wished he could bury 100 demonic beasts a day. He shook his head, pushing these distracting thoughts away, and warned himself internally. An insatiable heart is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. A long-lived person must avoid haste and impatience. There is still a long time. No rush. After restoring his state of mind, he began to bury the second beast. This time, he cast the Auspicious Dragon Chi Gazing